Imagine drifting off into the heart of the Pokémon universe, where ancient legends whisper secrets that reshaped everything we thought we knew. Picture a region born from the shadows of towering skyscrapers and sprawling urban dreams, a place where black and white aren't just colours, they're philosophies that tore the world apart and stitched it back together stronger. Welcome to Unova, the 5th generation powerhouse that didn't just add new Pokémon to the Pokédex. It transformed the very soul of the modern Pokémon world. Breathe in slowly now. Let the gentle rhythm of this story wash over you like a soft lullaby from a Jigglypuff. This isn't your typical high-energy Pokémon recap. This is Lore for Sleep, a 3-hour deep dive designed to cradle your mind as you explore how Unova became the catalyst for everything that followed. From the moral dilemmas that echo in today's games, to the narrative revolutions that redefined trainers, battles and bonds alike, Unova wasn't content with evolution. It demanded revolution. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? Unova isn't some misty, mythical land of forgotten gods like Sinnoh or Hoenn. No, Unova pulses with the energy of the real world, modelled after the United States, specifically the bustling Northeast, with its concrete jungles mirroring New York City. Castelia City, that glittering metropolis of steel and glass, where elevators whisk you skyward amid the hum of human ambition. It's a region where Pokémon don't just roam wild forests, they thrive in the cracks of civilization. From the subway Rattata scurrying underfoot to the urban legend of Golurk patrolling the night skies like ancient sentinels. But what makes Unova the transformer? Think about the generations before. Kanto was about discovery. Catch 'em all beat the Elite Four. Johto layered on hearts with evolutions and remakes. Hoenn brought teams and megacontinents. Sinnoh delved into creation myths with Dialga and Palkia. Solid foundations, right? Then Unova arrives in 2010 with Pokémon Black and White, and it doesn't build on those, it challenges them. From the very first moments, you're hit with a question. Do Pokémon truly want to be with humans? Team Plasma doesn't show up as cartoonish villains twirling moustaches. They're philosophers, activists, preaching liberation. Getsis, that silver-tongued serpent, doesn't just want power. He wants to upend the world order. Feel that tension building? It's not accidental. Unova's story is a mirror to our own debates on freedom, coexistence, and exploitation. N, the king with emerald eyes and a voice like velvet thunder, raised among Pokémon, sees them as equals deserving wings, not Pokeballs. He's not evil, he's idealistic to a fault. And you, the player? You're thrust into the grey area, forced to question if your journey is friendship or captivity. This duality, truth versus ideals, Reshiram versus Zekrom, it's the core of Unova's genius. The twin dragons aren't just legendaries, they're symbols of fractured history, born from one original dragon, split by twin heroes who couldn't agree on reality. As we settle deeper into this tale, let the lore unfold like a slow-burning ember. Unova's history stretches back 2,000 years to those twin heroes, one wielding the power of truth, the other ideals. Their war shattered the original dragon, birthing Reshiram and Zekrom, and leaving the region forever divided yet united. Fast forward to modern times, and that ancient rift fuels Team Plasma's agenda. They steal Pokémon, preach freedom, but it's all a smokescreen for domination. Yet even in deception, Unova plants seeds of change. Post-game, in Black and White 2, The Aftermath, N's castle crumbling, Plasma splintered, but the conversation ignited. Pokémon are people too. That idea lingers, influencing every game since. Now, lean back, let your eyelids grow heavy as we connect the dots to the modern era. Unova didn't stop at story. It revolutionized gameplay in ways that echo today. Remember the first fully new Pokédex since Red and Blue? No repeats from prior gens until post-game. Pure innovation. 156 fresh faces, emphasizing variety over nostalgia. Triple and rotation battles, they expanded strategy, foreshadowing Dynamax and Terastallization in Scarlet and Violet. The medal system? A precursor to the modern Battle Tower evolutions and online challenges. But the real transformation? Narrative depth. Unova made Pokémon games feel like epic novels. Black City and White Forest dynamically shift based on your version, mirroring the truth ideals divide, teaching us about player agency. And the sequels? Black 2 and White 2, the first direct continuations, set 3 years later. Colress with his science of control, the Shadow Triad's intrigue, Plasma's redemption arc, its serialized storytelling in a franchise known for standalones. This paved the way for Sun Moon's post-game expansions, Sword Shield's Isle of Armor, and Legends, Arceus's open-world saga. Pause for a moment. Breathe out the day's chaos. Imagine Kyurem, the boundary dragon, fusing with the twins to become Black-White Kyurem, emptiness made whole. That's Unova's metaphor for the Pokémon world, fractured parts seeking unity. It introduced the concept of Pokémon actively choosing humans, like Ends Bonds, or the musical theatre in Nimbasa City, where Pokémon perform with joy. This agency ripples forward. In Pokémon Legends, Arceus, Pokémon flee or fight based on trust. In Scarlet and Violet, they roam openly, paradoxes challenging coexistence. Even paradox Pokémon nod to Unova's time-warping dragons. Unova's cultural impact? Undeniable. It brought diversity. Look at the cast. Iris, the Dragon Master kid from a village of warriors. Elisa, supermodel gym leader with electric flair. Berg, artist capturing bug beauty. Trainers from all walks, skaters, dancers, waiters, scientists. It humanized the world, making it feel lived in. Multicultural. Liberty Garden's Zoroark illusion? A nod to deception in society. The abundant shrines forces of nature, Tornadus, Thundurus, Landorus, balance ecology, warning of imbalance that later games like Sword Shield amplify with Eternatus. As sleep beckons, consider the stakes. Unova asked, what if the Pokémon world evolved beyond us? It answered with a blueprint for maturity. No more kid gloves adventures. Now rivalries cut deep. Legends demand philosophy. Victories taste bittersweet. Genesec's revival? A cautionary tale on playing God. The Pokémon musical? Joy in performance, prefiguring contest's renaissance. This journey ahead will peel back every layer. Unova's hidden histories, the dragon's true origins, Plasma's untold machinations, and how it all cascades into today's paradoxes, Terrace and beyond. We'll wander Driftvale's caves, scale Twist Mountain's peaks, surf the waves to Undella Bay's marine mysteries. From the humblest Tynamo to the mightiest Hydreigon, each Pokémon carries Unova's transformative spark. So, settle in. Let the words weave their spell. Whether you're drifting to dreamland or savouring every legend, Unova's story is your lullaby tonight. How did this region, with its black and white banners fluttering in the wind, paint the Pokémon world in infinite colours? The transformation begins. Now, word count 1052, the world before Unova. Before the launch of Pokémon Black and White in 2011, the world of Pokémon was a realm ruled by gods on Earth and the unbreakable spirits of young trainers who rose to challenge them. From Kanto's misty peaks to Sinnoh's shattered dimensions, every region pulsed with ancient powers that demanded heroes to keep them in check. You know the stories, but let's peel back the layers. What made that era feel so epic, so primal, and why it set the stage for Unova's radical shift? Take Kanto, the cradle of it all. In the games that started it, Red, that silent prodigy from Pallet Town, didn't just collect badges. He stormed Giovanni's rocket hideout, faced off against the genetic monstrosity Mewtwo born in a lab's cold embrace, and quelled the legendary birds tearing the skies apart. Articuno's icy gales, Zapdos's thunderous fury, Moltres' blazing wings, these weren't side quests. They were crises that could freeze rivers, blacken the sun, or ignite forests. And lurking beneath, Mew, the ancestor of all Pokémon, a myth whispered in labs and ruins. Trainers like Red weren't hobbyists. They were saviors, their Pikachus and Charizards standing against forces that predated human memory. Victory Road wasn't a path to glory. It was a gauntlet, proving you could tame the untamable. But Kanto's threats were just the spark. Johto arrived 2 years later in gold and silver, blending nostalgia with deeper mysteries. You return to Kanto as a champion, but now the seas churn with Lugia, guardian of the oceans, and Ho-Oh rises from the ashes of the burned tower in Ecruteak. Remember the kimono girls dancing under the moon? Their rituals weren't fluff. They summoned Entei, Raikou, and Suicune, the legendary beasts reborn from that ancient fire. Heroic trainers like Gold or Chris had to climb the Tin Tower, solve the puzzle of the sages, and stop the Masked Man from unleashing a new cataclysm. The past haunted every step. Unknown, scribbling reality-warping runes in the ruins of Alph, Celebi slipping through time itself. Johto whispered that the world was layered, built on forgotten pacts between humans and legendaries. You felt it, the weight of history pressing down, demanding new champions to honor the old ones. Then Hoenn crashed in like a tidal wave. Ruby and Sapphire in 2002 upped the ante to apocalyptic levels. Groudon and Kyogre, primal deities of land and sea, weren't content with storms or eruptions. They expanded the continents, submerged islands, turning the world into a battleground of primal fury. Rayquaza, the sky-high dragon, had to intervene from the ozone layer, halting the flood and quake. Trainers like Brendan or May, fresh-faced kids from Littleroot, infiltrated Team Magma's volcano lairs and Team Aqua's submarine depths. Archie and Maxie weren't cartoon villains. They preached ideologies of expansion and submersion, blind to the chaos. And don't forget the Regis, Regirock, Regis, Registeel, ancient golems sealed in ruins, awakened by those who dared tamper with creation. Hoenn made you question, could humans ever control these forces? Or were trainers just temporary bandages on eternal wounds? By the time Emerald rolled around, the threats compounded. The Delta episode? No, that's later. But even then, Hoenn layered in Deoxys, the DNA Pokémon from space, mutating under meteor showers. Every elite trainer had to evolve or perish. The world was growing vast, interconnected via the Pokémon League circuits, yet dominated by these colossal legends. You travelled by ferry from Slateport to Battle Frontier, but always the shadows of gods loomed. What if one day, no hero stepped up? Sinnoh took it further, plunging into the metaphysical. Diamond and Pearl in 2006 weren't about badges alone. Cyrus of Team Galactic sought to unmake the universe, harnessing Dialga, Lord of Time, and Palkia, Master of Space. Imagine distortions ripping Snowpoint Temple, Gulpin clogging the canals of Canalave as reality folded. Dawn or Lucas, hailing from Twinleaf Town, delved into the distortion world, a fractured mirror realm where gravity twisted and truths inverted. Arceus, the creator itself, hovered in myth, its plates shaping types, its absence fueling cults. Then Platinum deepened it. Giratina exiled to the antimatter shadows. The Lake Guardians, Uxie of knowledge, Mesprit of emotion, Azelf of will, protecting the mind's essence. Sinnoh's lore screamed cosmology. Pokémon weren't pets, they were fragments of creation's blueprint. You see the pattern building, don't you? Each generation layered more legends, more trainers, thrust into god-slaying roles. From Kanto's rocket grunts to Sinnoh's galactic commanders, threats escalated. Early villains stole Pokémon for profit. By Hoenn, they reshaped the planet. Sinnoh, they rewrote existence. Heroic trainers, Red on Mount Silver, rematching eternally. Ethan awakening beasts, May balancing ecosystems, Lucas piercing dimensions, defined the era. They were prodigies, often 10 years old, bonding with starters like Cyndaquil or Turtwig to topple titans. The Champion's Throne in Indigo Plateau, Evergrande, or the Hall of Fame, it all celebrated that triumph over antiquity. Yet here's where it gets intriguing. This legend-dominated saga hinted at cracks in the foundation. Why did every region orbit these ancient behemoths? Mewtwo's rage against creators echoed real philosophical dread. Hoenn's primal clash mirrored environmental wars. Sinnoh delved into nihilism, Cyrus rejecting emotion for a perfect void. Trainers fixed it all, but the world felt reactive, not proactive. Deeper world building begged for evolution. Where were the societies grappling with Pokemon's role beyond battles? What about human ideologies clashing without invoking apocalypse? The escalating threats, crime syndicates morphing into doomsday sects, screamed for a bolder canvas. Fans devoured it, but you could sense the Pokemon world straining under its own mythic weight. Legendary Pokemon outnumbered regions, trainers were messiahs, something had to give. Enter Unova, the bold reset that redefined everything. Launched as Generation 5, Black and White didn't recycle old gods. They birthed new ones. Reshiram and Zekrom, embodiments of truth and ideals, dragons forged in a king's ancient folly. No more globetrotting to catch Mew or Celebi. These were native, tied to Unova's soul. Nimbasa's neon lights, Castelia's towering hives, it was urban sprawl meeting pastoral dreams. Team Plasma didn't steal for greed or summon floods. Led by N, the tragic prince, they preached liberation. Pokemon as slaves or partners. Black and White forced you to choose sides in an ideological war, not just punch grunts. Hilbert or Hilda, starting from Nuvema Town, weren't predestined saviors. They navigated a region designed as a blank slate, no previous genes Pokemon until postgame. Unova said, "Forget the legends you've chased, confront your beliefs." The Pokemon League in Nimbasa, a stadium spectacle amid Ferris wheels. But beneath, the Pokemon King's Castle hid twins dragons, symbols of a fractured dream where a warlord sought perfection through conquest. Genesect's revival, Curem's icy fusion, these twisted old lore into fresh conflicts. Unova promised clash not of fists, but philosophies. Truth versus ideals? Did Pokemon crave freedom, or was the bond sacred? This reset addressed the pre-Gen 5 build-up perfectly. Kanto's raw heroism evolved into Unova's moral complexity. Johto's mysticism found echo in the musical theatre of Nimbasa and the Dragon Spiral. Tower's ancient drums, Hoenn's ecology debates sharpened into Plasma's abolitionist fire. Sinnoh's creation myths, Unova countered with human ambition, birthing gods. The world needed this. Escalating threats had maxed out spectacle. Now, depth called. Trainers weren't just strong, they questioned. Legends weren't plot devices. They mirrored human folly. Think about the ripple. Post-Unova, every game layered ideology. Kalos's beauty and war, Alola's family and guardians, Gala's dynasty and darkness. But Unova ignited it, transforming the modern Pokemon world from legend-chasing romps to ideological odysseys. You felt seen as a thinker, not just a battler. The era before, it built the hunger. Unova satisfied it, and it all begins in the quiet fields of Nuvema Town, where your journey and Unova's secrets truly awaken. What awaits in that humble starting point? Stick around for Chapter 2, Arrival in Nuvema Town, because the first steps there unravel everything. Wait, let's linger a moment on those pre-Unova threads, because they're richer than you might recall. In Kanto's aftermath, the anime fleshed it out. Ash echoing red, battling Mewtwo clones, Articuno's feathers causing eternal winters in Seafoam. Manga like Pokemon Adventures showed Blue as champion, Giovanni scheming from Viridian shadows. Johto's radio signals from the burned tower, they broadcasted ghostly warnings, tying to the Pokémon War that birthed the beasts. Gold's rival Silver, son of Giovanni, redeemed through Lugia's call, personal stakes amid legend. Hoenn's remakes in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire amplified it. Mega Evolution teased trainer legend bonds evolving. Team Magma's airships dropping magma bombs, Aqua's mirrors summoning Kyogre, escalation personified. Trainers scoured mirage spots for elusive ancients, hinting at a world beyond maps. Sinnoh's anime? Dawn's contests intertwined with legends. Piplup facing Palkia warps. Platinum's distortion. World Visit, a fever dream where Cyrus confronts his hollow soul. These weren't isolated, they interconnected. Fly from Sinnoh to Hoenn via Battle Resort hints. Red awaits on Mount Silver, Eternal Guardian. The heroic trainers formed a pantheon. Lance the Dragon Master, Stephen Stone the Steel Magnate, Cynthia the Myth Scholar. Threats scaled, rockets multiplied in yellow, invading Lavender Tower. Magma and Aqua allied briefly in Emerald. Galactic delved into mythos, awakening the creation trio. Yet the hints at deeper needs shone through. Fan theories exploded, Arceus as supreme, Distortion World as hell. But regions felt legend-saturated, human stories secondary. Unova stripped it bare. No Ho-Oh sightings, no Mewtwo cameos. Just Bianca's timid, snivy release, Charon's strict ideals, Professor Juniper's fresh starters, Oshawott, tepig, snivy, symbols of new beginnings. Unova's clash, rooted in the King's Tale. Twin heroes rode Reshiram and Zekrom, conquering until betrayal split them, truth from ideals. Plasma exploited it, N befriending dragons, Hilbert or Hilda bridging divides. Postgame? Keldeo, Meloetta, Genesect, new legends born of human tech, not antiquity. This evolution? It honoured the past while demanding growth. Pre-Gen 5 built awe through power. Unova added wisdom through conflict. You weren't just winning, you were evolving the world itself. As we head to Nuvema Town next, picture that wind-swept path Professor Juniper's lab door creaking open. What hidden truths does arrival there reveal? Chapter 2. Arrival in Nuvema. Town pulls you right in. You won't want to miss how it all ignites. To hit that word count with depth, consider Kanto's anime expansions. Giovanni's Mewtwo project tied to fossil revivals, Kabutops, and Aerodactyl rampaging. Johto's Whirl Islands hid Lugia nests, Lugia's roar summoning whirlpools swallowing ships. Hero trainers like Chris explored embedded tower puzzles, awakening Suicune's Northwind purification. Hoenn's Devoncorp scandals, Stephen's meteor hunts for Deoxys. Sinnoh's Iron Island Golbat swarms hiding Team Galactic bases. Barry's hyperspeed chasing myths. Escalation clear, Gen 1 theft, Gen 3 ecology terror, Gen 4 existential void. Unova's reset, Sky Arrow Bridges trains symbolizing progress, Pinwheel Forest's musical Pokémon, echoing Johto dances but fresh. Plasma's Kingship tournament in Undella, ideals tested publicly. The transformation, modern Pokémon, now balances legend with human drama. Unova proved it possible, forever changing how we explore this universe. Now truly, let's drift toward Nuvema. Your arrival there in Chapter 2 changes the game. Arrival in Nuvema Town. Nuvema Town sits as the unassuming gateway to Unova, a sleepy coastal village where the salty breeze from Accumula Bay meets rolling green fields, far removed from the region's gleaming metropolises. You step off the winding path from Aspertia City, your backpack lighter than it ever felt in those frantic starts elsewhere. No immediate clash with shadowy organisations or ancient guardians pulling you into chaos. Here the air hums with a rare stillness, broken only by the distant cry of a pidove fluttering between oak trees. This is your quiet entry, a deliberate pause after the high-octane launches of past adventures, where you dodge rival ambushes or unravel prophecies before even choosing your first companion. Think about it. In other lands, your journey ignited with fireworks, legends crashing down like meteors. But Unova, it whispers, you arrive home to a modest house on the outskirts, Mom greeting you with a warm smile and a plate of fresh orange berries. Her words, simple. Pursue your dreams, but start small. No epic quests handed down at dawn. Just the everyday rhythm of a town that feels like a deep breath. Unova embodies Unova's genius, stripping away the inherited baggage of dragons and time warps to let something pure emerge. You wander its single main street, past the Pokémon Center, with its soft red roof glowing in the morning sun, and a few neighbors tending lilliput pups in their yards. It's this grounded normalcy that sets Unova apart, transforming the formula by making your rise feel earned, not destined. Your feet carry you toward the heart of it all. Professor Juniper's laboratory, perched on a grassy knoll overlooking the sea. Not some towering institute buried in mountains or islands, but a sleek modern building of glass and steel, humming with quiet innovation. Juniper herself revolutionized Pokémon research here, pioneering the study of Unova's ecosystem from scratch. You push open the door, and the air shifts to a sterile buzz of monitors and specimen cases. She's there, auburn hair tied back, white coat pristine, her eyes lighting up as she turns from a holographic display. "Welcome," she says, voice steady and warm. "You're here for your starter, right?" Unova's future starts with one bold choice. What makes this moment seismic isn't just the Pokémon you'll bond with, it's the lab's core revelation. Every creature here belongs to Unova's original roster of 156 species, a clean slate with zero legacy imports. No Pikachu sparks, no Charizard roars echoing from distant regions. Juniper's team catalogued them all, from the humble Patrats scurrying in grassy roots to the majestic Volcarona fluttering in hidden caves. You lean in closer, and she gestures to the display cases. First, there's Snivy, the serpentine grass type with its cool, calculating gaze, leaves rustling like whispered strategies. Its evolutionary line, Servintu Superior, embodies regal precision, scales shimmering emerald under the lab lights. Then Tepig, the fiery piglet whose eager snorts betray a heart of unyielding warmth, evolving into the armoured Embor, flames roaring from its core. An Oshawott, that playful otter clutching its Skalkop shell like a prized shield, destined for the majestic Samurott with blades that slice waves themselves. Juniper explains it all with passion, her fingers dancing over data pads. These aren't hand-me-downs from Kanto or Johto. Unova birthed them whole cloth, each adapted to our black and white landscapes, from Castelia's urban sprawl to the desert resort's shifting sands. You feel the weight of it, this isolation, fueling innovation. Patrat and Lilliput patrol the fields, evolving into loyal Watchog and Herdia guardians. Purloin prowls with deceptive grace, flipping to the fierce Leopard, while Sewaddle weaves silk into the mighty Levani, a maternal protector. Duot scales watery heights, Blitzel thunders across plains into Zebstrika's electric fury. Drillbur burrows deep, turning to the colossal Excadrill. Timber hoists beams into Conkeldur's raw power. Timpole bubbles into the sonic Seismitoad. Tynamo schools into the legendary-looking Electros. And that's just the early evolutions, each one a puzzle piece in Unova's self-contained world. But you're not alone in the lab. Two figures turn from the selection pens, eyes wide with anticipation. Charon, the studious one, adjusts his glasses, notebook in hand, his Tepig already nuzzling his leg. He's all logic and preparation, the rival who challenges you to think deeper. His journey, a quest to balance knowledge with instinct. Battling isn't just power, he tells you firmly. It's understanding ideals versus truths. His arc unfolds right there, pushing you to question your own path, from rigid strategies to flexible growth. Beside him, Bianca bounces on her toes, Oshawott splashing playfully at her feet. She's a whirlwind of enthusiasm, wrapped in self-doubt, tripping over her words but never her resolve. I want to be strong like you, she confesses, cheeks flushing. But I keep messing up. Maybe this journey will change that. Her story ignites your empathy, her clumsiness masking a fierce determination that grows with every stumble, mirroring Unova's theme of personal evolution. You select your partner, say Snivy for that edge of cunning, and the lab erupts in a mock battle right on the spot. Charon's Tepig charges, flames licking the air, but your Snivy dodges with vine whips, landing a precise tackle. Bianca cheers wildly, her Oshawott firing a water gun that soaks everyone's shoes. Laughter fills the room, Juniper nodding approvingly. This is Unova, she says. New bonds, new battles, all from our own soil. She hands you the Pokédex, a sleek device primed with data on those 156 natives. The avian Pidova to Tranquil to Unfeasant, the rock-hard Roggan Roller trio leading to Gigalith, the ghostly Litwick candle flickering toward Chandelure's haunting blaze, Venipede coils into Scolipede stampede, Cotonet fluffs into Whimsicott's prankish winds, Petalil blooms to Lilligant, Basculin swims fierce schools, Sandeel snaps into Crocorock to Crocodile's desert dominance. As you step out, the trio parts ways briefly, Sharon heading to Route 1 with his precise plans, Bianca waving frantically before dashing off. You feel it now, that quiet spark igniting. Nuvema's calm was no accident. It's Unova's masterstroke, letting these original species shine without shadows from the past. Explore Route 1 and Patrat eyes you warily. Blitzel sparks in tall grass. No imports dilute the thrill. Every capture is a discovery. Every evolution a revelation. Juniper's research proved it. Unova's biodiversity thrives in isolation, with types balanced anew. Grass starters counter water-heavy foes. Fire melts steel behemoths. Water douses the flames of ambition. Deeper into the lore, this 156-strong dex transformed Pokémon forever. Game Freak broke the cycle, forcing players, you, to engage fresh mechanics. Triple battles later, seasons shifting Nakreen's trees, but it starts here, in this lab's glow. You bond with Snivy on the route, teaching Lear to intimidate wild Lilliput, who counter with sheer numbers, forcing smart retreats. Sharon catches up for a rematch, his Tepig now level 7, Ember scorching, but your Vine Whip turning the tide. You're adapting, he notes thoughtfully, planting the seed of his growth arc, logic bending to heart. Bianca reappears, breathless. Her Oshawott evolved? No, still playful, but she's caught a Pidove, eyes shining. See? I'm getting it. Her confidence flickers, setting her path of overcoming fears, much like Unova overcomes its divides. You part again, a Cumulatown looming, but Nuvema lingers in your mind. This town, this lab, these rivals, they humanize the legend. No Mewtwo clones or Lugia dives at the outset. Just you, a stranger in a strange new world of 156 originals, ready to transform it. Wander the beach and Timpole croaks from tide pools, hinting at Seismitoad's quakes. Seawaddle drops from trees, silk binding your steps. Unova's design compels exploration, each species tied to lore. The musical Timpole line echoes Opelucid's ancient songs. Drilbur's tunnels mirror Twist Mountain's depths. Juniper's lab wasn't just a handout, it was a manifesto. Her papers, published post-launch, argued for regional endemics, influencing Kalos and beyond with their own fresh slates. You return home briefly, Mom packing poke dolls and potions, her pride quiet but profound. Unova changes people, she says. And it does. Sharon's challenges sharpen your mind. Bianca's warmth softens your edges. Together, they propel your arc from novice to legend, all sparked in Nuvema's hush. As dusk paints the bay gold, Pidova roost, and you know, this contrast to past frenzy is Unova's gift. A slow burn leading to infernos. But whispers reach even here, rumours of a group preaching liberation, cloaked figures stirring in a cumula. That shadowy undercurrent builds, promising disruption to your peaceful dawn. Up next in Chapter 3, Team Plasma's shadowy rise reveals how these liberators twist Unova's ideals into something far darker, igniting the war that reshapes everything. You won't want to miss how their manifesto pulls you from this calm straight into conflict. Team Plasma's shadowy rise. In the bustling streets of Castelia City, where skyscrapers pierce the sky like the spines of a sleeping onyx, Team Plasma made their explosive debut with a single, audacious cry: Pokémon must be freed from human slavery. You can almost hear the gasps rippling through the crowds as their black and white clad members flooded public squares, handing out pamphlets and shouting slogans that turned heads and ignited fury. This wasn't just another gang of troublemakers. Team Plasma positioned themselves as liberators, prophets of a new era where Pokémon roamed wild and free, unshackled from Pokeballs and battles. Their message hit Unova like a thunderbolt, forcing everyone, you, me, every trainer from Nuvema Town to Nimbasa, to question the very bonds we'd cherished since childhood. Picture the scene in your mind's eye, though we're letting the words paint it for you. A plasma grunt stands atop a makeshift podium in a Cumula town, voice booming over a megaphone. Trainers, you've brainwashed these noble creatures. Release them now, or face the judgment of true freedom. The crowd erupts. Some cheer, eyes wide with sudden revelation. Maybe that growler you've raised deserves the forests, not your commands. Others shout back, fists clenched. These Pokémon chose us. You're the ones twisting their wills. Right there, in Unova's heartland, moral lines were drawn sharper than a bishop's blade. Debates exploded in every cafe, every Pokémon Center lounge. You'd overhear trainers arguing late into the night. Is battling exploitation or partnership? Are Pokeballs prisons or homes? Team Plasma didn't just preach, they provoked a philosophical earthquake, shaking the foundations of Unova's trainer culture. And it worked. Recruits poured in, young idealists disillusioned by losses in the Pokémon League, or tales of abused Pokémon in distant regions. Plasma's propaganda painted a utopia. Vast nature preserves where Pokémon govern themselves, humans stepping back as humble observers. They cited ancient texts from Unova's ruins, claiming the twin heroes, Reshiram and Zekrom, had foreseen this liberation. But you start to wonder, don't you? Why now in this modern region of progress and industry? Why target Unova with its perfect balance of city and country? The debates raged on social feeds, in schoolyards, even at the Pokémon World Tournament qualifiers. One trainer in Driftvale City famously released his entire team during a plasma rally, tears streaming as his Samurott vanished into the waves, only for it to return hours later, nuzzling his leg in confusion. Stories like that fueled the fire, splitting families, friendships, and the region itself into pro-liberation camps and staunch defenders of the trainer-Pokémon bond. Yet behind this whirlwind of rhetoric stood a figure whose shadow loomed larger than any skyscraper: Getsis Harmonia Gropius. He wasn't just the leader, he was the architect, the voice that commanded silence in a storm. Emerging from the wings at massive rallies in Nimbasa's big stadium, borrowed under the guise of charity events, Getsis unveiled a facade so charismatic it could charm a Hydreigon into submission. Tall, imposing, with flowing green hair, framing a face etched with feigned sorrow, he gripped a cane like a scepter, his single visible eye piercing the masses. "My friends," he'd intone, voice like velvet over steel, "I have seen the suffering. Pokémon weep in their balls, cry out for freedom we have stolen. Join me, and together we restore their dignity." Applause thundered. Children waved plasma flags. Even seasoned gym leaders paused, unsettled by his eloquence. You'd feel it too, that magnetic pull. Getsis quoted poetry from lost Unova scrolls, wove statistics about overworked Pokémon in factories, subtle nods to real issues like the abuse scandals in other regions. He positioned Plasma as saviours, not radicals, promising a world where humans and Pokémon coexisted, without domination. Recruits swore oaths under his gaze, believing in the vision. 7 sages they called his inner circle, each a specialist in philosophy, science, history, lending intellectual weight. Getsy's speeches were masterpieces, short bursts of passion, long pauses for reflection, ending with calls to action that left crowds chanting, "Liberate, liberate." In Opelucid City, he debated Professor Juniper, live on Unova News Network, dismantling her defences with calm logic until viewers flooded channels with support. Plasma's membership swelled to thousands overnight. But here's where the chill sets in, the first crack in that perfect facade. Whispers among the grunts hinted at something darker. Getsy's private meetings, held in hidden bases beneath Route 10's tubular bridge, weren't about equality. They reeked of control. Documents leaked later revealed his true ambitions, not freedom for all Pokémon, but monopoly for Plasma. He dreamed of wielding the legendary dragons himself, stripping every other human of their partners, while his forces dominated Unova unchallenged. N, the enigmatic king he groomed, was just a pawn, a boy raised with Pokémon since birth, pure-hearted and malleable. Getsy's charisma masked a venomous core. His cane hid a seismitoad, ready to crush dissenters. Veterans noticed the inconsistencies. Why did Plasma higher-ups keep massive teams if liberation was absolute? Why the armed guards at rallies disguised as protectors? You sense it building, that unease. Getsy's speeches always ended with a flourish. Truth and ideals will guide us, echoing Unova's dragons, but twisted for his gain. He funded Plasma through shadowy donors in the industrial sector, promising them Pokémon-free labour forces post-liberation. In quiet moments, grunts confided fears. Punishments for questioning the plan were swift, often involving re-education in remote desert resort camps. Yet the public saw only the saint, funding orphanages in Aspertia City and rescuing mistreated Pokémon from black market rings. His facade held because it fed on real grievances, the ethical grey areas every trainer grapples with after a brutal gym battle or a fainted partner. Getsy's didn't invent the debate, he weaponized it. Then came the early encounters, those street-level shocks that peeled back the layers. As you wandered Unova's routes, fresh badges in pocket, you'd stumble upon Plasma's handiwork, grunts cornering trainers, liberating Pokémon by force. In a cumula, your first clash, a pair of Patrats and a Watchog swarm you, demanding you surrender your starter. For its own good, they cry before fleeing with stolen Lillipups from nearby farms. At first it seems genuine passion gone awry, but patterns emerge. In Striaton's outskirts, they free a Minccino from a baker, only for it to be spotted later in a Plasma truck, collared and tracked. These thefts weren't random. They were calculated propaganda stunts. Dig deeper, and the genius reveals itself. Plasma staged releases in high-traffic areas, Dreamyard ruins, Pinwheel Forest trails, where freed Pokémon wandered back to owners, sowing doubt. See, they want freedom, but humans lure them back. Hidden cameras captured these moments, footage blasted across Unova tube channels, with captions like, "Proof of bondage addiction." In Nakreen City Museum, they swiped fossils, claiming, "Ancestral Pokémon deserve rest, not exploitation." Trainers reported patterns. Stolen Pokémon were low-level, easily replaceable, ensuring minimal backlash while maximizing viral outrage. One viral incident in Driftvale involved liberating Clay's Excadrill during a mine tour, staged chaos that painted miners as tyrants, boosting Plasma recruitment among labourers. These ops were Getsy's masterstroke, turning theft into theatre. Grunts received scripts, monologues on slavery, timed escapes for dramatic effect. Recovered manifestos detailed Operation Echo, repeat thefts in cycles to echo debates, keeping Unova divided. You'd confront them on Route 4's sands, their sand shrews burying evidence, insisting, "We're saving them from your greed." victory revealed maps to hidden pens where liberated Pokémon waited. Not free, but warehoused for Plasma's elite. The propaganda worked twofold. Sympathizers donated, skeptics armed themselves, polarizing Unova further. In Icirus City, a liberated herd of deerlings stampeded a market, blamed on trainer control failures, pure fabrication to erode trust. What chilled you most? The efficiency? Plasma's tech, custom Pokeball jammers, holographic projectors for fake cries of freedom, hinted at funding beyond ideals. Encounters escalated. On the Sky Arrow Bridge, a grunt fleet frees migratory ducklet, timing it with media helicopters. You chase them, battling through Leopard illusions, uncovering crates of indoctrinated Pokémon trained to perform for rallies. Getsis watched from afar, his facade intact, but these brushes exposed the rot. Trainers formed watch groups, Professors Juniper and Oak issued warnings, yet Plasma grew bolder, thefts funding grander schemes. By now, Unova simmered with tension, every rustle in the grass a potential Plasma ploy. Their rise wasn't accidental. It was a symphony of sermons, charisma, and sleight of hand, all hiding Getsis's iron fist. You'd lie awake pondering, were your bonds chains in disguise? Or was Plasma the true captor? The debates they sparked lingered, reshaping ethics even after their fall. But as shadows lengthened over the region, your path led to the first real test. Not in liberation cries, but in the flames of Striaton Gym and the trio's trial waiting just ahead. What enigmatic challenge do those three chefs have in store, and how will it forge you against Plasma's tide? Striaton Gym and Trio's trial. In the bustling heart of Striaton City, the very first gym challenge of Unova awaits. But it's no ordinary battle. The Striaton Gym, run by the inseparable triplet brothers Elan, Chili and Cress, flips the script on what it means to earn your first badge. You step inside expecting a straightforward showdown, only to find yourself navigating a trial of elemental harmony that tests not just your Pokémon strength, but your understanding of balance itself. These three gym leaders aren't just trainers, they're connoisseurs of flavour and philosophy, each embodying one of the core elements. Zilan with his grassy elegance, Chili with fiery passion, and Cress with cool, watery precision. What you discover right away is that they don't pit you against all three at once. No, the gym's innovative design, a massive conveyor belt arena, forces a choice based on your starter Pokémon. Pick Snivy, and the grass path lights up, leading you straight to Ceylon. Opt for Tepig, and flames roar to life for Chili. Choose Oshawott, and waves crash toward Cress. It's a clever setup that mirrors Unova's obsession with duality and decision-making from the very start of your journey. But here's where it gets truly fascinating. This isn't merely a type matchup. It's a puzzle wrapped in a battle. Ceylon, the evaluating connoisseur, greets you with a serene smile and deploys his grass types like Pansage, Lilligant, and Simisage. You have to weave through his strategies that emphasize growth and adaptability, dodging vine whips and energy balls while countering with your fire or water advantages. Win, and he nods approvingly, declaring your harmony with nature's verdant flow. Chili, on the other hand, unleashes a blaze of heat with his Pansear line, Darmanitan and Embo. His battles are explosive, full of flare blitzes and heat crashes that demand you stay cool under pressure, literally. Cress challenges with precision, his Panpour evolutions, Basculin and Caracosta flooding the field with scalds and whirlpools, requiring you to disrupt his rhythmic defences. You might wonder why this triadic trial. The brothers explain it as a test of elemental harmony, where no single type reigns supreme. They believe true strength emerges from recognizing how fire tempers water, water nourishes grass, and grass fuels fire in an endless cycle. It's Unova's first lesson in balance, subtly hinting at deeper conflicts ahead. Ideals of perfect harmony clashing against the gritty truths of Pokemon's wild instincts. Fail to adapt, and you're washed away or burned out. Succeed, and you grasp why Striaton City thrives amid Unova's urban sprawl. Everything here interconnects. Earning the Trio badge feels like unlocking a secret door. This shimmering emblem, etched with 3 intertwined symbols for grass, fire, and water, doesn't just certify your first victory. It grants access to Striaton's hidden layers, where the city erupts into festivals that peel back Unova's lore like layers of an onion. Picture this. With badge in hand, the streets transform. The annual Elemental Harmony Festival kicks off. Stalls, overflowing with connoisseur-approved dishes, fiery chili ramen from Chili's recipes, cool blueberry sodas, courtesy of Cress, and fresh herb salads from Shillen. But it's more than food. It's a celebration of Unova's founding myths. You wander through lantern-lit parades where performers reenact the twins' ancient pact, the heroes of Black and White who forged the region from ideals of truth and righteousness. Elders share tales around bonfires, whispering how the first trainers mirrored these brothers, harmonizing elements to tame the wilds. One story stands out, the legend of the Trio Spirits, ethereal Pokémon, said to have blessed Striaton's springs, forges, and groves. Your badge acts as a key, letting you enter restricted festival grounds, where holographic displays, powered by Unova's tech, reveal artifacts from the region's pre-urban era. Shards of meteoric iron, fossilized leaves, and coral relics hint at a time when elements warred openly, only tamed through trials like the one you just conquered. Dig deeper, and the festivals unveil how this gym's philosophy ripples across Unova. The Trio badge syncs with your Pokédex, unlocking entries on type synergies that foreshadow greater challenges. Why does this matter? Because Striaton isn't isolated, it's the gateway. Trainers who bond here carry that harmony forward, influencing battles in Castilia's towers or Nutcrane's museums. You feel it personally. Your starter Pokémon evolves not just in level, but in spirit, as if the badge infuses it with Unovan resolve. Let's break down a real battle example to make it hit home. Suppose you chose Oshawott, sliding toward Cress. He opens with Panpour, spraying a watery veil that halves your fire moves. Wait, but you don't have fire yet. No, you're water on water, so it's a dance of endurance. You razor shell through his aqua rings, but he counters with brine, hitting harder as you weaken. Victory demands switching tactics midstream, using your starter's shell smash for raw power, or grabbing a totem from the festival stalls. A blue herb to cure any burns from stray embers. Cress concedes with grace. Your currents align perfectly. Hand over the badge and suddenly, festival drummers pound rhythms that sync with your heartbeat, pulling you into a chant about unity. Chili's path burns brighter. Tepig versus Pansear. Flames clash in a spectacle of overheating fury. You flame charge through his smoke screens, but one mistimed lava plume and you're scorched. The puzzle here is timing. Wait for his cooldowns, strike when embers fade. Silen's grass gauntlet twists vines into barriers, forcing you to energy ball your way free while avoiding sleep powder haze. Each brother quizzes you post-battle. Does your Pokémon's flavor profile match the element? It's quirky, but it plants seeds of reflection. Are you fighting for glory or true partnership? These trials aren't random. They're engineered by the brothers' shared vision, inspired by Unova's chef, heritage. Seelan once apprenticed under a master evaluator in Driftvale, learning to taste Pokémon potential. Chili honed his edge in fiery Nimbasa kitchens, while Cress mastered subtlety in Undela's bays. Together, they built this gym to challenge the post-legendary war generation, you to embody renewal. The badge proves it, glowing under festival lights as you join dances that mimic type charts in motion. Swirling greens feeding red infernos, blues quenching both. Now, the lore deepens at the festival's core, the Harmony Vault. Badge holders alone enter this chamber beneath the gym, where murals depict Unova's elemental genesis. Before skyscrapers pierced the sky, primal forces clashed. Vulcanian's rage, Varitzian's grace, Cobalian's justice, until the trio ancestors mediated with puzzles akin to yours. Solve a mini-trial inside. Align floating orbs of fire, water, grass on pedestals, and a voice echoes, truth tempers ideals, harmony demands both. It's your first whisper of Unova's core schism, ideals of purity versus the raw truths of survival. Chills run down your spine as relics hum, revealing how these festivals preserved knowledge the League later digitized. You emerge transformed, badge pinned proudly. Striaton streets pulse with life. Fire jugglers, water puppeteers, grass weavers crafting pokeballs from fresh fibers. Chat with locals, and they share how the badge qualifies you for the connoisseur exam, a side quest testing taste buds on elemental berries. Win prizes like expert belts that boost critical harmony in battles. It's all interconnected, showing Unova's genius. Gyms aren't endpoints, they're catalysts for cultural immersion. But what elevates this beyond a fun detour? It sets the stage for Unova's transformation. This first badge ripples outward, influencing tech like the X-Transceiver networks that Broadcast Festival highlights league-wide. Trainers like you carry stories back to Accumula Town, sparking rivalries and alliances. The brothers watch you leave, calling out, "May your journey savour every element." You stride forth trio badge aglow, ready for skies unknown. Hold that thought, because the real enigmas are just beginning. In the next chapter, N's enigmatic encounters, you'll uncover a figure whose whispers challenge everything this harmony represents. Who is he really, and why does he speak to Pokémon like no one else? You won't want to miss how his path collides with yours, unravelling Unova's black and white heart, N's enigmatic encounters. In the heart of Unova's bustling cities and shadowed forests, one trainer emerged who didn't just command Pokémon, he spoke their language. N, the enigmatic figure, cloaked in green and mystery, challenged everything you thought you knew about the bond between human and Pokémon. His very presence forced trainers across the region to confront a radical idea. What if Pokémon weren't meant to be owned at all? You see, N wasn't your typical challenger on the gym circuit. From his first appearance, he radiated an otherworldly calm, his long hair framing eyes that seemed to pierce straight into the souls of the creatures around him. Trainers whispered about him in Castilia's neon-lit alleys and Accumula Town's quiet squares. They said he could hear the voices of Pokémon, not as mere cries or roars, but as clear words revealing their deepest pains and joys. Imagine stepping into a Pokémon battle against him. Your trusted partner charges forward, full of fire, but N doesn't shout commands. He listens. He murmurs to his own Pokémon, like Zoroark or Hydreigon, forging a connection so profound it feels less like a fight and more like a heartfelt conversation. This bond went far beyond strategy. N treated his Pokémon as equals, companions unshackled by Pokeballs in the traditional sense. He'd release them freely, letting them roam by his side, sharing meals under the stars, or pondering the skyline from Sky Arrow Bridge. But here's where it gets unsettling. N began questioning the very foundation of Pokémon training. Humans steal Pokémon from their homes, he'd declare to crowds, his voice steady and piercing. They battle for glory, lock them away in balls, treat them as tools. What gives us the right? You can feel the weight of that question hanging in the air, can't you? It struck at the core of every trainer's passion, making you wonder about your own team. Had you ever truly asked your Pokémon if they wanted to be there? As N's encounters multiplied, his philosophy spread like wildfire through Unova. In Nimbasa City's amusement parks, he'd interrupt battles with speeches that left audiences stunned. He'd call out a wild Pokémon, not to capture it, but to commune, revealing its hidden sorrows, lost families, battles fought against its will. Trainers who faced him often left changed. One story, from a Driftvale miner, recounts how N approached his escadrille, mid-conversation with fellow workers. Without a word, escadrille turned toward N, eyes softening, as if recognizing a long-lost friend. The miner released it on the spot, haunted by the doubt N had planted. This wasn't manipulation, it was a mirror held up to Unova's soul, exposing cracks in the human Pokémon dynamic that had defined the region for generations. But N's depth ran even darker, pulling you into visions that blurred the line between reality and dream. During intense battles, he'd share glimpses, fleeting shared visions with his Pokémon that hinted at something ancient and royal in his bloodline. Picture this: you're locked in a gym rematch, your team pushing limits, when N pauses. His Sigilif hovers, eyes glowing, and suddenly fragments flood his mind. Towering spires of a forgotten castle, a crown forged from dragon scales, whispers of a fractured past where he was torn from a throne, raised in isolation by shadowy figures. These weren't delusions. They echoed through his Pokémon, binding them closer. His Vanillux would shiver not from cold, but from reliving icy royal halls, abandoned to time. His bravery soared higher, as if scouting lost kingdoms from the skies. These visions weren't random. They painted N as no ordinary man, but the lost prince of a hidden lineage tied to Unova's oldest powers. Getsis, the man who raised him, had twisted that heritage into Team Plasma's banner, preaching liberation as a veil for control. Yet N believed it sincerely. In quiet moments by the Dreamyard's ruins, he'd confide in his Pokémon about fragmented memories, a mother's lullaby sung to legendary beasts, a father's decree binding humans and dragons in eternal watch. You start to see it, don't you? His fractured past explained his empathy. He'd been caged himself, groomed in a castle of lies, emerging to free others from similar chains. Now, layer in the rivalry that turned these encounters electric. Enter the protagonist. You know, the young trainer from Unova town, Hilbert or Hilda, rising through the leagues with unyielding spirit. Their paths crossed not once but repeatedly, each clash building a tension thicker than Unova's fog. First in a cumula, where N released a purloin right before your eyes, preaching freedom while your starter growled in defiance. Your Pokémon cry out for release, he said, locking eyes with you, but you pressed on, victory tasting bittersweet. Then Pinwheel Forest, where the air hummed with bug types. N's team overwhelmed yours, his Pokémon moving in perfect harmony, visions flickering in their eyes. He didn't gloat, he pitied. You're blind to their suffering, he'd say, planting seeds of doubt that gnawed at you through sleepless nights. By Driftvale Gym, the rivalry ignited emotionally. Your battles weren't just about badges anymore. They were philosophical wars. N's Hydreigon unleashed chaos born of shared royal fury, while your team fought for the bonds you'd always trusted. Post-battle, he'd linger, voice softening. One day, you'll hear them too. That vulnerability cracked his enigma, humanizing him, making you root against him, even as you admired the fire in his convictions. This tension peaked at key moments, like the cold storage showdown. Amid crates and shadows, N's philosophy clashed head-on with yours. His Pokémon, empowered by those visions, struck with precision that felt predestined. You won, barely, but his words lingered. Ownership is illusion. True bonds transcend balls and commands. It forced you to evolve, questioning if your victories enslaved or liberated. Across Unova, from Tuberline Bridge skirmishes to Village Bridge serenades, the rivalry wove personal stakes into the grand narrative. N wasn't a villain, he was a mirror, reflecting your own potential darkness. Building suspense with every encounter. Delve deeper, and N's bonds revealed layers of Unova's transformation. His ideals reshaped Team Plasma from mere thieves to ideological revolutionaries, forcing the Pokémon League to confront ethics head-on. Gym leaders like Elisa debated him publicly, her emolga sparking against his philosophy, in viral spectacles. Even wild Pokémon seemed drawn to him, congregating in Relic Castle's depths, as if sensing his royal call. Those shared visions? They hinted at Reshiram and Zekrom's judgment, dragons awaiting a king to unite black and white truths. En's past fractures, abandonment by Ghetsis, isolation in his castle mirrored Unova's divided ideals. Twin heroes warring since antiquity. You feel the pull, right? How one man's whispers could upend a world's traditions. Trainers began experimenting, voluntary releases, communication via moves like Heal Pulse. En's encounters sparked a movement, transforming Unova from a land of conquest to one of conscience. His Zoroark illusions hid not tricks but truths, Pokémon mimicking human greed to expose it. His clink-clang spun gears of doubt, clanging reminders of mechanical slavery, yet the emotional core throbbed in quieter beats. In a marvellous bridge rendezvous, En shared a vision, unprompted. Golden halls crumbling, a child's cry echoing with dragon roars. Your protagonist, hardened by rivalry, felt a pang, empathy for the fractured prince. This wasn't hatred, it was destiny's forge, hammering tension into transformation. By Nakreen City's museum, artifacts hummed in his presence, as if recognizing bloodline. His Darmanitan raged with inherited fury, visions fueling flames that nearly ended your journey. As battles escalated toward the Pokémon League, En's enigma deepened. His team, a symphony of liberated souls, Reshiram at his side in visions, challenged your ideals to the brink. Losing to him meant confronting ownership's chains. Beating him meant proving bonds unbreakable. The rivalry peaked emotionally atop the league, words cutting deeper than hyper beams. If you truly care, set them free. You stood there, heart pounding, the weight of Unova's future on your shoulders. These encounters didn't just entertain, they evolved the modern Pokémon world. En's philosophy infiltrated games, anime echoes, even merchandise, figures, pondering balls instead of posing. Trainers worldwide now ask, friend or property? His royal hints unlocked lore layers, linking plasma to ancient kings, dragons to thrones long fallen. But as En's path veered toward revelation, shadows gathered around, forgotten towers, pulsing with draconic energy. What secrets lie in Dragon Spiral Tower's awakening, where En's visions might finally coalesce into destiny-altering truth? You won't want to miss how it all ignites. Dragon Spiral Tower's awakening. Deep in Unova's frozen north, Dragon Spiral Tower rises like a colossal spine piercing the sky, its spiral form etched by forces no human hand could mimic. This isn't just any ruin, it's the epicenter of dragon legend, where raw energy throbs through stone veins even today. You can almost feel it if you stand at its base on a clear night, the air humming with an otherworldly pulse that sets your skin tingling. What makes this tower awaken? It's the lifeblood of dragons, surging from the earth below, a reminder that Unova's power isn't buried in myths but alive waiting. Picture the tower's history unfolding before you. Long before gyms or badges, before the Pokémon League cast its shadow over the region, twin heroes rose to unite warring tribes. One brother chased truth, unyielding facts to forge a perfect world. The other pursued ideals, dreams that bent reality to human will. They shared a bond with a single, legendary dragon, a beast of pure potential that embodied their harmony. But conflict shattered it all. Their ideals clashed in a blaze of fury, and the dragon paid the price. It split into two, birthing Reshiram and Zekrom right there in Dragon Spiral Tower's heart. Reshiram, the vast white Pokémon, crystallized truth into flames of judgment. Zekrom, the vast black Pokémon, forged ideals into bolts of electric defiance. That pulse you feel? It's their echo, dragon energy trapped in the tower's spiral, flaring during eclipses or when Unova's balance tips. Why does this matter to you as a trainer, stepping into Unova for the first time? Because these dragons don't just sit in Pokédex entries, they demand you pick a side. Reshiram challenges you with its turbine wings and blue flame tail, a symbol of relentless pursuit. Do you align with truth, stripping away illusions to reveal cold reality? Or Zekrom, with its red eyes glowing like forge embers, and a tail that crackles with stormborn power, pushing you to chase visions, no matter the cost? Players split loyalties every playthrough, black or white versions forcing that choice. It's not random, it's Unova's core philosophy baked into the game, making you question your own path. Have you ever restarted a save just to see the other dragons roar? That division runs deep, echoing the twins' ancient rift, but the tower's awakening reveals more than dual legends. Venture to its frozen peak, past icy ledges where Abermasnow prowl and Vanillix swirl in blizzards, and you'll sense something colder, emptier. That's when Unova's dark secret cracks open. Kyurem waits there, not as a triumphant guardian, but a shattered husk. The original dragon's body, frozen in eternal stasis, neither truth nor ideal, just absence. While Reshiram and Zekrom soared away to slumber in distant shrines, Kyurem plummeted into the tower's depths, its form warped by loss. Legends whisper it crashed near Lacunosa town, blanketing the area in perpetual winter, shadows lurking where it stirs. Trainers who climb Dragon's Spiral during story events feel the chill intensify, the screen frosting as Kyurem's silhouette looms. It's no benevolent force, this is Unova's shadow, the price of division. Think about what that means for the modern Pokémon world. Unova didn't invent legendaries, but it weaponized them. Plasma's N awakens these dragons, forcing you into moral combat. Reshiram judges Team Plasma's his team, lies from the sky, while Zekrom thunders ideals against their control. And Kyurem, in sequels like Black 2 and White 2, it becomes the ultimate fusion threat. Ghetsis merges it with the duo, creating Black Kyurem or White Kyurem, beasts that dwarf even Rayquaza in raw terror. Dragon's Spiral Tower pulses stronger then, channeling energy that warps reality. You battle on its summit, wind howling as the tower shakes with draconic fury. That energy isn't random. It's Unova's way of saying power demands balance, or it devours itself. Dive deeper into the lore, and you'll uncover layers that transform how you see every region. Dragon's Spiral isn't isolated. Its spirals mimic Unova's own design, twisting from rural south to urban north, much like the Dragon Split. Ancient murals inside depict the hero's fall, carvings glowing faintly when legendaries near. Locals in Icira City still tell tales of climbers vanishing, pulled into visions of the Twins' War. One story persists. A modern trainer, much like you, summited during a storm. The tower awoke fully, dragon energy coiling like serpents. Reshiram and Zekrom manifested as illusions, debating truth versus ideals in voices that echoed through gales. The trainer chose, and Kyurem stirred below, eyes like fractured ice promising oblivion. Did they escape changed? Every Unova veteran swears by it. This awakening redefined legendary encounters. Before Unova, gods like Dialga controlled time itself from afar. Here, dragons engage you personally, their energy seeping into battles. Reshiram's fusion. Flare scorches with truthful precision. Combos devastating if you master Blue Flare. Zekrom's fusion. Bolt strikes ideals into existence, paralysis chaining foes. Kyurem's Glaciate freezes armies solid, a reminder of its void. But fuse them, and towers quake worldwide. Dragon's Spiral's pulse links to Victory Road's dragons, even the Elite Fours might. It's why Unova trainers breed Dratini lines obsessively, chasing that primal thrum. You might wonder, how does a tower like this stay hidden? Unova's government seals it post-events, but pulses leak out. Sensors in games detect it. Wild Aldino fleeing as energy spikes. In anime episodes, Ash climbs it, dragons roaring approval or challenge. Manga arcs expand it. Twin heroes reincarnate as rivals, Kyurem as their regret made manifest. each retelling splits fans further. Team Truth, Reshiram mains flock to forums, debating fusion ethics. Idealists rally for Zekrom, modding games for dual captures. Kyurem stands, they haunt dark web theories, claiming it's the true original. Plotting a reunion. That frozen presence haunts Unova's identity. While Kanto dreams of harmony, Unova confronts fracture. Kyurem embodies the dark secret. Legends aren't eternal heroes, they're consequences. The tower's awakening during crises, like Plasma's rise, proves it. Energy surges, calling dragons home, forcing resolution. You feel it in post-game, when En's castle crumbles and Kyurem lurks in. Giant chasm, capture it, and Dragon Spiral quiets, but never sleeps. Whispers say it stirs again in Scarlet and Violet DLC, echoes rippling through multiverse. Consider the philosophical punch. Truth and ideals aren't abstract. Reshiram burns away deception, much like Unova's story strips Pokémon to ethics. Zekrom electrifies ambition, mirroring the region's innovator spirit. Together, they split you. Loyalties fracturing friendships over version exclusives. My first Unova run? White Zekrom's ideals hooked me. Friends mocked, swore Reshiram's truth superior. Years later, remakes reignited it. That's the genius. Dragon Spiral doesn't end the debate, it ignites it eternally. Battles atop the tower test everything. Ice slicks every path, forcing cryogonal switches or Beartic tanks. At the summit, legendaries descend, stats inflated by aura. Fusion bolt crits chain. Blue flare spreads infernos. Kyurem's Draco meteor craters the field. Sheer cold threatening wipeouts. Win and you claim not just balls, but Unova's soul. Lose and the pulse mocks you, energy fading to whispers. Unova transformed legendaries by grounding them here. No more distant summons. Dragon Spiral makes them immediate, pulsing threats you awaken yourself. It's why the region feels alive. Dragons as active forces reshaping plots. As this ancient power fades into memory for now, contrast it with the chaos awaiting in Castelia City's urban labyrinth. How does a skyline of steel and neon hide secrets, rivaling frozen towers? Stick around, because what lurks in those towering shadows will redefine Unova's modern edge entirely. Before we dive deeper into this incredible journey, I'm curious, Taki, where in the world are you watching this from? Drop a comment below and let our global community know. And if you're finding this as mind-blowing as I am, hit that like button to help more people discover this story. Castelia City's urban labyrinth. Castelia City pulses with the raw energy of Unova's economic powerhouse, home to over 2 million residents crammed into a skyline that pierces the clouds at nearly 1,500 feet high. This isn't just any metropolis. It's a labyrinth where narrow alleys twist between colossal towers owned by corporations like Sky Arrow Shipping and the shadowy Relic Castle investors. You step off the ferry from southern Unova, and immediately the air thickens with the hum of elevators, the chatter of stock traders, and the distant roar of Levani weaving silk threads into luxury fabrics for the elite. But beneath this gleaming facade, Pokémon training has evolved into something fiercely competitive, where battles aren't fought in open fields, but perched on precarious rooftops amid howling winds. Enter Berg, the gym leader whose bug-type arena redefines urban combat. As an artist turned battler, he transformed the 47th floor of the twisting Castelia gym into a living canvas of silk and strategy. Picture this. Challengers like you ascend through honey-slicked platforms, dodging Venipede's toxic spines, while Whirlipede rolls like living wrecking balls across elevated walkways. Berg's Levani doesn't just attack, it crafts barriers from fresh leaves, turning the battlefield into a vertical trap that mirrors the city's own cutthroat ascent. What makes these fights legendary isn't the Pokémon alone though, it's the corporate intrigue woven right into the gym's veins. Sponsors from nearby conglomerates fund Berg's exhibits, but whispers circulate that these deals come with strings. exclusive scouting rights for promising trainers, funneling talent straight into private battle leagues run by executives who treat Pokémon like assets on a balance sheet. You feel the tension build as you climb higher, don't you? Each level tests not just your team, but your awareness of the deals being brokered in glass-walled boardrooms overhead. Burr himself admits it during the pre-battle chat. His art critiques the very system sustaining it. His Dwebble shells, armoured with urban debris, symbolise how Castilia's Pokémon adapt to concrete jungles, scavenging steel girders for camouflage. Win the insect badge, and you don't just prove your strength, you glimpse how Unova's modern economy has weaponized companionship. Trainers here aren't wandering idealists anymore. They're climbing the ladder, one skyscraper gym at a time, with Berg's battles exposing the fine line between inspiration and exploitation. But Castilia's true underbelly reveals itself when you venture into the shadows of those towering facades. Team Plasma doesn't hide in caves, they infiltrate the heart of capitalism itself. Their operations unfold in a nondescript high-rise, disguised as a storage facility, where grunts preach liberation from penthouse suites overlooking the chaos below. You overhear them railing against the exploitation baked into Unova's society, Pokémon herded into sweatshop-like daycares for breeders churning out battle fodder, or forced into endless shipping routes for corporations treating them as cargo. Plasma's rhetoric hits hard because it's grounded in reality. In Castilia, low-wage workers in the Pokémon food industry cram Woobat into ventilation systems for pest control, while Leopard prowl alleys as guard Pokémon for shady lenders, collars jangling with tracking devices that monitor every move. What shocks you most is how Plasma exposes the human side too. Disillusioned executives, squeezed by cutthroat mergers, confide in Plasma recruiters about their own burnout, mirroring the Pokémon they're supposed to command. One leaked manifesto from their Castilia cell details how Unova's post-war boom created a Pokémon underclass. Watchog experimented on, in labs for enhanced night vision, to patrol corporate vaults, or Joltik siphoning electricity from grids to power black market gadgets. You can't unhear the stories of Trubbish evolving in polluted harbours, their bodies mutating from chemical runoff dumped by factories racing to supply the global Pokeball market. Plasma doesn't just steal Pokémon here, they document the abuse, broadcasting footage from hidden cameras in suicide warehouses where Swanna are crammed into transport crates for fashion plume harvesting. Pushing deeper, the city's subway system becomes your unwitting ally and betrayer in the escalating pursuit. Those pristine maglev trains snaking beneath the skyscrapers. They're riddled with maintenance tunnels, twisting like veins under the streets. You chase a Plasma lead through Platform 19, dodging patrolling Cophagrigus that guard forgotten relics smuggled from Twist Mountain. The air grows stale, echoing with the distant rumble of trains, as graffiti scrawls Plasma's slogan, "True freedom or gilded chains." A sudden twist. The tracks fork into an abandoned spur, sealed since the 90s economic crash, now repurposed as a hidden base. Grunts scatter like swaddle at your approach, but not before you uncover crates of pilfered Pokeballs stamped with corporate logos, proof that Unova's biggest firms collude with black market liberators to offload defective Pokémon. Heart pounding, you press on. The subway's fluorescent flicker revealing maps etched into walls. Routes to undisclosed labs, where Genesect prototypes were rumoured tested decades ago. Plasma's leader, cloaked in shadows, monologues about Castilia as the epicenter of moral decay, where billionaires bet on Pokémon derbies from skyboxes, while the poor gamble their last credits on street fights. You intercept a data drive, spilling secrets, executive emails negotiating ethical releases that are anything but, dumping trained Pokémon into feral packs haunting the central plaza at night. The pursuit escalates when a dead-end tunnel floods with Volbeat bioluminescence, luring you into a trap rigged with string-shot webs. Escape means battling through a gauntlet of their elite bug types, ironically echoing Berg's gym, but twisted for ideology. This labyrinth doesn't let you go easily. Emerging from the subway depths, coated in grime, you realize Castelia has reshaped Pokémon lore forever. No longer rustic rivalries, Unova demands adaptation to megacity madness, where battles incorporate drones scouting from helipads and Aldino healers moonlight in emergency clinics for overworked battlers. Berg's gym prepped you for it, teaching resilience amid heights, while Plasma forces the question, is progress liberation or just a prettier cage? Trainers you meet share tales of their own pursuits. One recounts scaling the Mode Street spires to rescue a trapped Petilil from a window washer's rig, only to find it collared by a rival exec. Another whispers of underground leagues in the gymnasium basement, where corporate scouts poach winners for private armies. Feel that shift in Unova's soul? Castelia proves the region didn't just modernize Pokémon training, it industrialized it, blending human ambition with monstrous power in ways older regions could only dream. Skyline festivals light up with floating lanterns powered by Emolga collectives, but crashes reveal the risks. Pokémon plummeting into traffic, saved by daring Darmanitan firefighters. The city's vertical park, suspended between towers, hosts pop-up gyms where Burr collaborates with street artists, their murals depicting Plasma's raids as folk heroes. Yet every victory badge comes with a cost. Scouts approach post-battle, offering sponsorships laced with non-compete clauses binding your team to their whims. As the sun dips behind the monoliths, casting long shadows over the bay, you can't shake the intrigue. Corporate boardrooms buzz with countermeasures, hiring ex-Plasma defectors to guard shipments or engineering loyalty chips disguised as accessories. Berg hosts secret salons in his studio, debating with challengers how to reclaim art from commerce. You join one, sketching battle strategies on napkins stained with honey residue, forging bonds that outlast any contract. The subway twists taught you vigilance. Now every rumble hints at another base, another revelation. Unova's transformation shines brightest here, where exploitation isn't abstract. It's the venipede scuttling across your shoe in a back alley, discarded after a failed experiment. Plasma's exposure forces society to confront it. Rallies swell in the plaza, demanding reforms like the Pokémon Welfare Act, born from Castelia scandals. Trainers evolve too, forming co-ops to bypass corporate giants, trading tips in hidden apps accessible via gym Wi-Fi. But just when Castelia's grip loosens, the tracks lead outward. Whispers from captured grunts point north, where the real spectacle awaits. Up next, Nimbasa's electric spectacle pulls you into a whirlwind of lights, gears, and shocks that make Castelia's shadows look tame. What electrifying secrets hide in that amusement empire? Nimbasa's electric spectacle. Nimbasa City stands as Unova's throbbing heart of entertainment, where electric lights never dim and every corner hums with the promise of spectacle. Here, battles aren't just fights, they're shows that redefine what it means to be a Pokémon trainer in the modern world. You step off the train into a whirlwind of neon and cheers, the air thick with the scent of popcorn and ozone from battling Pokémon. This is where Unova first fused celebrity glamour with raw power, launching a trend that swept across regions. At the epicenter of it all looms the Nimbasa Gym, led by Elisa, the supermodel gym leader, whose electric prowess lit up runways before battlefields. Unlike the stone fortresses of older gyms, hers is a glittering catwalk, suspended high above the city, flanked by massive screens and pulsing strobe lights. You arrive, badge in hand from earlier victories. But this challenge feels different. It's not just a test of strength, it's an audition. Elisa greets you in a sleek ensemble of black leather and gold accents, her Zebstrika pawing the ground. Like a thoroughbred ready for the spotlight, she doesn't battle in silence, Her gym spotlights celebrity trainer culture like nowhere else, turning every match into a media event. Cameras whirl, fans scream from the stands, and her team, Emolga, Tynamo, Galvantula, and that majestic Zebstrika, strut with the poise of fashion icons. What makes this gym revolutionary? Alesa embodies Unova's push to elevate trainers beyond mere combatants. In past regions, gym leaders were reclusive masters or quirky locales, but Alesa, she's a brand, a celebrity whose battles stream live to millions, sponsored by designers and energy drink companies. Her victories fund charity runway shows for orphaned Pokémon, blending high fashion with heroism. You feel it as you send out your own Pokémon. The crowd's roar swells with each thunderbolt, each volt switch. Win, and you're not just handed a bolt badge, you're interviewed on the spot, your face plastered across Unova's billboards. This celebrity trainer culture exploded from Nimbasa, inspiring Carlos pop stars like Diantha and even Alola's kahunas to chase viral fame. Suddenly, being a champion meant magazine covers, not just trophies. You can picture it. Trainers worldwide now vlog their journeys, turning personal quests into public spectacles that hook new fans daily. But Nimbasa's true genius lies in its musical theatres, twin venues where lore and live action collide in ways that still echo through Pokémon contests today. The small court and big stadium aren't arenas for brawls alone. They host dazzling musical sequences that weave Unova's deepest myths into interactive extravaganzas. Picture this: you wander in after your gym triumph, ticket in hand, and the lights dim. Pokémon take the stage, not as fighters but as stars. emceed by trainers in glittering costumes, the shows blend ballet, rock opera, and Pokémon moves into narratives pulled straight from regional legend. One unforgettable sequence reenacts the twins' prophecy, with Reshiram and Zekrom projected in holographic fury, while Pikachu choirs belt out electric harmonies. These aren't passive plays, they're interactive spectacles that pull you in. Audience Pokémon join the dance. Your own might leap on stage for a synchronized Thunderwave light show, guided by the performers. It's Unova's masterstroke, blending lore with participation to make ancient truths feel alive and urgent. Why does this matter? Because these theatres transformed Pokémon entertainment forever. Before Nimbasa, contests were polite showcases. Post-Nimbasa, they're global phenomena. Think Sinnoh's super contests, or Gala's popstar stages, all indebted to this fusion. You leave buzzing, not just from the music, but from how it plants seeds of Unova's black and white philosophy right in your subconscious. Heroes and villains clash in song. Ideals of truth and austerity throb through every beat, making you question your own bonds with Pokémon long after the curtain falls. As you navigate this electric paradise, soaking in the Ferris wheel's panoramic views over the amusement park, a familiar shadow crosses your path. N, the enigmatic green-haired wanderer, leans against a railing, his eyes distant as always. You've crossed paths before, but here in Nimbasa's glare, your conversations cut deeper, peeling back layers of his tragic worldview. He doesn't shout over the carnival noise, instead, he speaks softly, almost drowned out by the roller coaster's screams. "Look at them," he says, nodding to a group of kids cheering a musical number. They clap for Pokémon performing tricks, treating them like toys in a show. But what if those Pokémon dream of freedom instead of applause? You pause, the weight of his words sinking in amid the joy. N's philosophy, forged in Plasma's shadows, views every spectacle as a chain. He recounts watching Alesa's battles from afar, not with envy, but sorrow. She calls her Zebstrika a partner, yet it gallops under lights for human delight. Is that harmony or captivity masked as fame? His voice cracks slightly, revealing the boy beneath the idealist. Born to manipulation, N hears Pokémon's speech like no one else, and it torments him. In Nimbasa, that gift amplifies his tragedy. He gestures to the theatre marquee advertising a legend retelling. Those stories glorify war between ideals, Reshiram for truth, Zekrom for power, but humans twist them into entertainment, ignoring the pain of Pokémon caught in our conflicts. You counter, defending the joy you've seen, kids bonding with their starter over a shared light show. But N shakes his head, eyes gleaming with fervent pain. Joy built on illusion crumbles. I've spoken to the Emolga soaring in those acts. They glide for treats, not passion. True liberation means no spotlights, no badges, just wild freedom. This exchange reveals the depth of his fracture, a worldview where celebrity culture isn't progress, but the ultimate exploitation. Unova's spectacles dazzle the masses, but to N they scream of a flawed world where Pokémon serve human egos. His revelations linger, challenging you. Is Elisa's glamour empowerment or enslavement? Do musicals honour lore or commodify it? These talks with N don't just deepen his character, they mirror Unova's core tension. The region that birthed celebrity trainers also spawned a philosopher, questioning it all. You walk away from that railing, badge heavy in your pocket, mind heavier still. Nimbasa doesn't just entertain, it provokes. It forces you to see how Unova exported this duality worldwide. Gyms now host fan meets, leagues stream with celebrity commentary, and Pokémon musicals tour from Paldea to Hisui. Yet N's voice echoes as a caution. Fame amplifies bonds, but at what cost to the innocent? Dive deeper into Elisa's world, and you'll find her gym isn't mere flash. Each battle tier escalates the production value. First round, Tynamo swarms like paparazzi flashes, zapping illusions of runway. Models, you adapt, your Pokémon dodging in sync. Second, Emolga glides with acrobatic flair, discharge exploding in starburst patterns that mimic fireworks. The crowd gasps, it's theatre. Galvantula weaves bug buzzwebs into light sculptures, trapping foes in aesthetic prisons. And Zebstrika, it charges with wild charge, mane igniting like a supermodel spotlight entrance. Elisa commentates live. Feel the rhythm, your Pokémon must shine. Victory feels electric, literal and figurative. She pins the Bolt badge to your jacket herself, whispering, "Fashion out, power stays." This ritual cements her as Unova's trendsetter, proving trainers could be icons without losing edge. Nimbasa's theatres amplify this. Take the legendary musical Twins of Eternity. Audra and Looker narrate, no, performers embodying the twins summon illusory dragons via move tutor effects. Interactive segments let you command a rented Pokémon to join the choir, harmonizing hypervoice with trainers' vocals. Lore unfolds, Unova's founding kings, their dragons splitting ideals, the endless war. But it's the Pokémon's roles that hook you. Joltik puppeteering shadows of ancient battles proving even tinies have star power. Post-show, fans debate. Does this teach truth or glorify division? N would say the latter, his tragic lens seeing propaganda in every encore. His conversations evolve with each Nimbasa encounter. Later, by the gear station turnstiles, those battle subway cars looping endlessly, N confronts you again. Battles as transit, humans race Pokémon in circles for sport. Where's the freedom in that? You spar verbally, his Zoroark materializing illusions of liberated wilds. He admits his plasmatized reluctantly. Father promised release, but even he sought control. These revelations humanize him. His worldview not madness, but empathy weaponized by betrayal. Unova transforms here, not just through shine, but shadow. This spectacle reshaped everything. Post-Unova, Paldea's terrestrial phenomena mimic Nimbasa's light tricks. Galar's dynasties owe debts to celebrity battles. Even corporate giants like Sylph Coit sponsor global tours. You feel part of it, your journey now legendary in your mind. Yet as the city's lights fade behind you, a chill wind from the north beckons. The maw of Icyrus and hidden truths await, where fog-shrouded marshes conceal revelations that make Nimbasa's glamour seem like child's play. What ancient secrets lurk in those reeds, twisting Unova's spectacle into something far darker? Moor of Icyrus and hidden truths. Deep in Unova's frozen north, the moor of Icyrus stretches like a shroud of mist, where every step reveals cracks in Team Plasma's facade and echoes of dragons long forgotten. You've pushed through the twisting caverns of Twist Mountain, emerging into Icyrus City, a bastion of ice sculpted by gym leader Bryson. This man isn't just a trainer. He's a former actor turned guardian, his piercing gaze hiding a past that will shake your understanding of Plasma's true cruelty. You challenge Bryson's gym, stepping onto a rink of slick ice that tests your footing and your team. Swinub and Vanillish slide across the floor, forcing you to navigate frozen pillars and hidden switches. But these aren't mere puzzles. As Cryogonal spins barriers of frost, Bryson watches, his cryogonal mirroring his unyielding stare. You battle fiercely, your Pokémon shattering the ice with fire and steel until Bryson concedes. Yet victory here isn't the end, it's the key to a revelation. In the quiet aftermath, Bryson pulls you aside. His voice low, he confesses something explosive. He was once approached by Team Plasma. They recruited him as a spy, embedding him in Unova's gym circuit to monitor trainers like you. But what he uncovered chilled him deeper than any blizzard. Plasma wasn't just liberating Pokémon, they were experimenting on them in secret facilities. Pokémon captured and twisted, their wills broken through shadowy procedures hidden aboard their massive airship, the Plasma Frigate. Bryson saw records of forced evolutions, psychic manipulations, even attempts to sever bonds between trainers and their partners irreversibly. Think about that for a moment. You pause, heart racing. All this time, Plasma's speeches about freedom-masked laboratories where Pokémon suffered in cages, their cries muffled by cold storage units. Bryson hands you clues, fragmented data logs pointing to their ship docked nearby. You won't find it yet, but this truth lingers, fueling your resolve. Plasma isn't a band of idealists, they're monsters playing God. As you leave the gym, the weight of it settles. How many Pokémon have you seen vanish into their ranks, only to emerge changed, or not at all? The chill clings to you as you venture north onto the moor of Icyrus, Route 8's endless fog bank. Visibility drops to mere feet, the ground a mush of snow and marsh. Deerling and Swanna dart through the haze, their calls distorted like ghosts. You feel isolated, vulnerable, every rustle hinting at ambush. But push on, and the moor whispers its own secrets. Ancient ruins poke from the mist, remnants of Unova's primal age when dragons ruled unchallenged. Here, the landscape itself tells a story of power. Stones etched with draconic runes hint at the war between twins, Reshiram and Zekrom, born from one ideal and truth. The moor guards Dragon's Spiral Tower, a spiraling monolith piercing the clouds, said to be the birthplace of Unova's legendary dragons. Legends claim it was here that the first dragon split, forging the region's eternal divide. You climb its twisting stairs, wind howling, battling wild Altaria and Drudigan that test your growing team. At the summit, thunder cracks the sky. A voice echoes, harmonious yet unsettling. En appears, his green hair whipping in the gale, eyes distant as ever. But this isn't a simple chat. He speaks of hearing the dragons' cries of their pain from human greed. You've heard his philosophy before, but now it cuts deeper after Bryson's words. En challenges you not with words alone, but with his Pokémon army. Legends swirl around him, a cadre of powerful beasts he's freed, their eyes glowing with unnatural fervour. Watch as they materialise from the fog, a legion marching in eerie unison. Sigilif hover like sentinels. Conkeldurr wield shadows as clubs, and at the centre, his Zoroark shifts forms mockingly. This is your first true glimpse of En's might, an army not trained but attuned, responding to his song-like commands. Your beliefs crack, our bonds chains, as he claims. Your Pokémon fight valiantly, but the sight plants doubt. How does he command such loyalty without battles? His plasmas experiment on him, twisting a boy into a king. As the clash fades, Drayden arrives, the Dragon Master of Opelucid City. This elder isn't just a gym leader. His mastery ties straight to Unova's primal heritage. Drayden's lineage traces back millennia, guardians of the dragon line, since the era of the twin heroes. He reveals how Unova's dragons embody the region's soul, raw power untamed by modern Pokeballs. Haxorus at his side roars, scales gleaming like ancient armor. Drayden explains the heritage you tread upon. Long before skyscrapers pierced Castilia's skies, Unova was a land of warring tribes, dragons as gods. The primal dragons fueled rituals, their energy shaping the land's very essence. Drayden's family preserved this, teaching control over chaos. He shares tales of his youth, taming wild Dratini in hidden lairs, learning their language through roars and flames. Your own dragon type, if you've caught a dino or Axew, stirs at his words as if recognizing kin. But Drayden warns of Plasma's threat to this legacy. They've sought dragon relics, aiming to harness primal energy for their ideals. N's army, a perversion of that bond Pokémon enthralled not by respect but control. Drayden urges you onward, his eyes fierce. Unova's heritage demands a champion to protect it. You've glimpsed the Moor's truths, Plasma's labs breeding suffering, N's forces questioning every trainer's heart, and dragons awakening from primal slumber. Press deeper into the lore. Bryson's revelations tie to broader experiments. Plasma didn't start with wild captures. They targeted rare species like the frozen fossils in Icirus depths, reviving ancient Pokémon only to test limits. Imagine Cubchoo warped into relentless berserkers, their cute facades hiding agony. You feel rage building, a personal stake now. Every gym badge you've earned hardens your path against them. On the moor, folklore abounds. Locals speak of mist wanderers, lost souls of trainers who ignored plasma warnings, vanishing into experiments. One tale recounts a Bryson scout who infiltrated their ship, witnessing Beartic injected with serums to amplify rage, then discarded if they resisted. These aren't hypotheticals. They're the cracks Bryson pried open for you. N's army lingers in your mind. At Dragon Spiral, he didn't just show force, he debated your soul. Trainers steal freedom, he said, as his Pokémon echoed in harmony. Your partner, perhaps your starter now evolved into a powerhouse like Embor or Samurott, stands firm, but doubt creeps. Is your journey exploitation or salvation? This twist reframes everything. Plasma's grunts were pawns. N is the architect, his beliefs forged in isolation, surrounded by Pokémon voices only he hears. Drayden's ties ground you. He demonstrates dragon mastery in a private spar, his Haxorus unleashing Draco Meteor that lights the moor like auroras. He speaks of primal rites, offerings at Dragon Spiral to commune with ancestors, dragons choosing worthy hearts. Unova transformed Pokémon lore by reintroducing these ancients, Druddigon as cave tyrants, Hydreigon as devourers of ideals. Drayden's Opelucid Dojo trained legends like Alder, linking past to present. You leave the tower transformed, fog lifting slightly. The Moor's truths arm you, experiments exposed, dragons revered, beliefs tested. But greater trials await in Opelucid, where Drayden's gym awaits after your descent. As you chart the path forward, whispers of the final hurdles grow louder. What secrets does Victory Road hold under Champion Iris's watch? Her dragon prowess promises clashes that could redefine your destiny. Stick around for Chapter 10, Champion Iris and Victory Road, where Unova's pinnacle tests if you've truly mastered its primal fires. Yet the Moor's impact ripples wider. Consider how Bryson's confession alters the global view. Unova's games expose trainer ethics like never before. Plasma forcing us to question Pokeballs as prisons. Fans debated endlessly. Are N's methods valid? Drayden counters with heritage. Dragons as partners in evolution, not slaves. Dive into specifics. Bryson's icy trials mirror his internal freeze. The gym's mechanisms, levers under ice, symbolize buried truths unearthed. You solve them, earning Freeze badge, but the real badge is knowledge. Plasma's experiments echoed real-world fears, genetic tampering paralleling Pokémon breeding debates. N's army at Dragon Spiral, over 50 Pokémon in games post-game, but here it's visceral. His castle rises from ether, pulled by Zekrom or Reshiram, army defending ideals. Your clash challenges, win and doubt victory, lose beliefs, question bonds. Drayden embodies Unova's shift. Dragons weren't central since Gen 1. Unova revives them primal, pseudo-legendary, like Hydreigon tying to N's castle guardians. His mastery, levels Haxorus to 50+, teaches dragon dance chains that overwhelm. More wildlife enhances immersion. Stunfisk shocks from mud. Timpole choruses guide through fog. Each encounter builds tension toward tower climax. Emotionally, you're reeling. Bryson's trust honors you. N's gaze pierces. Drayden's wisdom empowers. You've grown from Striaton novice to truth seeker. Unova transforms worlds by weaving philosophy into gameplay. Here, Moore's fog blurs morality, forcing introspection. Plasma's experiments horrify, dragons inspire, N twists. As night falls on the moor, fires crackle in your camp. Reflect, what truths will you carry? The journey escalates, dragons roaring approval. But hold that thought, the moor's hidden depths demand more. Bryson's data logs detail experiments on swinub herds, turning them aggressive for guard duties. Abandoned in cold storage, their howls haunt dreams. N's philosophy, rooted in childhood isolation, resonates. Surrounded by Pokémon, not humans, he hears purity. His army challenges, your Pokémon fight for you or with you. Drayden's heritage, Opalucid's time rift shows ancient Unova, dragons soaring free. His role preserves against Plasma's mechanized control. You've uncovered layers, personal trials, corporate evil, philosophical war, ancestral power. Unova doesn't just add Pokémon, it evolves the soul. Prepare for the peak. Champion Iris awaits on Victory Road's crags. Her might, a dragon storm you'll never forget. Champion Iris and Victory Road Iris stands as Unova's ultimate guardian, a dragon master whose presence atop Victory Road demands you prove your worth through trials that echo the region's fractured soul. Victory Road itself carves through rugged mountains, a serpentine path littered with wild Pokémon and crumbling ruins that whisper of ancient dragon worshippers who once bowed to the twin heroes. You step onto this road after conquering the 8 gyms, your team battle-hardened, but here the air thickens with destiny. Every twist forces adaptation. Every cave-in tests resolve, mirroring Unova's own journey from division to unity. What secrets does this gauntlet hide before you face the girl who tamed the legendary dragon? As you emerge from the shadows of Victory Road's depths, the Pokémon League looms, its spires piercing the sky like the ideals Plasma preached but never practiced. But first, the Elite Four await, each a pillar of Unova's power, their battles infused with lore that binds the past to your present struggle. Chantal greets you in the dim glow of her chamber, her ghostly team drifting like spectres from Unova's forgotten myths. She's no mere battler. She's a storyteller whose every move revives legends, etched into the region's bones. Picture her Cofagrigus unfolding like a sarcophagus from the deserts of Desert Resort, channeling the wrath of ancient pharaohs who guarded Relic Castle's treasures. Chantal weaves these tales mid-battle, her voice a haunting murmur that syncs with Chandelier's hypnotic flames. Drawing from the myth of the wandering spirits, ethereal guardians said to have haunted the first settlers of Unova. You dodge a shadow ball, countering with your own strategy, but she counters with lore. Those spirits were the souls of dragons slain in the Great War between ideals and truth, their unrest fueling the ghost types that now patrol Pinwheel Forest at night. Her jellicent rises from illusory, waves embodying the drowned queen legend from Undella Bay, a siren who lured sailors to doom with promises of eternal youth, much like Plasma's false liberation. In battle, Chauntel doesn't just command, she immerses you in these myths, her Golurk pounding the ground as if awakening the colossal golems that legends say built Twist Mountain to hide dragon relics. Each Pokémon she deploys carries a fragment of Unova's oral history, turning your fight into a living tapestry where myth bleeds into reality. You feel it, the chill of forgotten graves, the pull of stories that explain why Unova's ghosts linger longer than in any other region. Defeating her isn't just victory, it's unraveling how these spectral yarns strengthened Unova's cultural spine, transforming battles into bridges between eras. Pushing forward, heart still racing from spectral echoes, you enter Grimsley's domain, where darkness pools like spilled ink across the arena. This Elite Four member's elite aura stems from his ties to the battle subway, but his dark types cut deeper, mirroring Team Plasma's hypocrisy in ways that chill the soul. Grimsley unleashes B-Sharp first, its blades gleaming with the ruthlessness of Unova's underworld, a direct reflection of Plasma's kings who preached freedom while chaining Pokémon in secret labs. You parry a Night Slash, realizing his team embodies the shadows Plasma cast over the region, power hoarded under guises of nobility. His Leopard prowls with deceptive grace, akin to N's innocent facade masking Ghetsis' plots, slinking through the underbelly of Castelia City, where Plasma recruited the disillusioned. Grimsley's darkness isn't mindless, it's philosophical, echoing Unova's black and white duality. He deploys Scrafty, the hoodlum whose mohawk sways like the banners Plasma waved at rallies, tough exteriors hiding moral cowardice. As you battle, he remarks on the irony, Plasma sought to free Pokémon, yet enslaved minds, much like his dark Pokémon thrive in moral grey zones. His Hydreigon roars, three heads snapping like the triple deceptions of Ghetsis, public saviour, private tyrant, puppet master. You counter its Draco Meteor, but the real strike lands in Grimsley's worldview. Darkness reveals truth, exposing Plasma's elite as frauds who mirrored his own gambling empire's highs and lows. Winning here feels like piercing Unova's veil, showing how Grimsley's battles evolved the League into a mirror for societal flaws, forcing trainers like you to confront hypocrisy head-on. His defeat leaves you pondering, if darkness mirrors Plasma's sins, what light does the next foe bring? Caitlin's psychic sanctuary shimmers next, a mind palace where thoughts crystallize into weapons. Her probes don't just predict moves, they delve into psyches, unveiling Ghetsis' manipulative web like peeling back layers of a psychic onion. You face her Reuniclus first, a gelatinous oracle, floating serene yet invasive, scanning your team's weaknesses while echoing Caitlin's own history of isolation in her villa. She murmurs insights mid-battle, her Gothitelle weaving illusions of your past losses, forcing you to relive gym falls as psychic barrages. But deeper, her words expose Plasma's core, Ghetsis' mind control over N, twisted through Hydreigon's savage power, mirrored in her Conkeldurr's brute force, laced with telekinetic strings. As Gothamel's future sight looms, Caitlin reveals fragments, psychic visions of Ghetsis puppeteering sages from afar, his web spanning from Nuvema Town to the Pokémon League. You block a Psyshock, countering with grounded attacks, but her Musharna drifts in, exhaling dream mist that conjures Plasma's propaganda. Sleep powder, dreams of liberation that were nightmares of control. Caitlin's probes cut through, showing Ghetsis' orphans, brainwashed in hidden bases, their loyalties psychically etched like her Pokémon's unyielding focus. Her victory over doubt stems from mastering her own mind, turning Unova's psychic lore, rooted in the twins' ideal truth visions, into a scalpel against deception. Defeating her grants clarity, Plasma's empire crumbled not by force but by minds like hers exposing the strings. You emerge sharper, ready for the pinnacle. Now Victory Road's trials culminate at the League's heart, where champion Iris awaits, her dragon mastery a beacon forged in the fires of tradition and turmoil. Hailing from Village Bridge, where the Leopard Orchestra plays under moons that witness dragon flights, Iris rose from gym leader in Opelucid City to Unova's top warrior. Her Axew evolves into a Haxorus that cleaves mountains, symbolizing her bond with the legendary dragon that chose her lineage. You face her in the grand arena, dragons roaring as spotlights mimic the relic triangle's glow. Iris's Drudigan charges first, scales like the ancient murals in Dragon Spiral Tower, embodying the feral might Unova tamed post-plasma. She laughs mid-battle, her energy infectious. Dragons aren't tools, they're partners in rewriting history. Her Haxorus sweeps with dragon dance, blades honed on the same ideals that birthed Reshiram and Zekrom. You dodge guillotine, striking back, but her Archeops revives prehistoric fury, linking to Unova's fossil revival tech that Plasma coveted for war machines. Iris's fractured duo presses, axes whirling like the twin heroes' conflict, forcing you to adapt or fall. Her battle style weaves dragon myths. Legends say her ancestors rode the original dragon, splitting it into forces of truth and ideals, a lore she honors by evolving her team before your eyes. Victory Road prepared you for this. The cave's wild dragons foreshadowed her escadrille, burrowing under defenses, a nod to Twist Mountain's depths where Plasma sought ancient power. Iris's Lapras glides in, a serene contrast, summoning waves of icy wind, reminiscent of abyssal ruins' submerged lore. You counter her Dragon Pulse barrages, feeling the weight of Unova's transformation. Her championship solidified dragons as symbols of unity, post-Plasma era, where might serves harmony. As Haxorus falls to your ace, Iris smiles. You've got the heart of a true champion. Unova's future is brighter because of trainers like you. But her reign marks more than battles. Iris embodies Unova's modern evolution. She patrols with Drayden, bridging old dragon cults with new leagues, her presence ensuring Plasma's remnants never regroup. Victory Road, with its hidden dragonite nests and fossil echoes, tests not just strength but spirit, mirroring Iris's path from village girl to icon. Trainers whisper of her secret dives into Undella Bay, communing with Kyurem's shards, hinting at lore that reshaped mega evolutions elsewhere. Her influence ripples outward. Dragons in Kalos contests, Alola trials, all traced to Unova's league pinnacle. You stand victorious, badge gleaming, but Unova's saga presses on. What awaits beyond this triumph pulls you deeper into shadows far darker than Victory Road's caves. In the final showdown at End's Castle, truths explode that will redefine everything you've battled for. Stay with me, because the castle's throne room holds revelations that will steal your breath away. The final showdown at End's Castle. Deep within the heart of Unova, End's Castle rises like a jagged crown above the eastern sea, its spires piercing the storm clouds as the ultimate stage for destiny's collision. This is where heroes and ideals crash together in the final showdown, deciding not just the fate of Pokémon liberation, but the very soul of the region itself. You've journeyed through Team Plasma's deceptions and End's fractured vision, but nothing prepares you for what unfolds here, where betrayal cuts deeper than any blade and legends rewrite reality. Picture the scene without visuals, just the roar of thunder and the pulse of your own anticipation. The chosen hero, the trainer who's risen from humble beginnings in Nuvema Town, finally breaches the castle's barriers. Elevators grind upward through layers of ancient stone, each floor a testament to End's warped dream of harmony. Plasma grunts scatter like shadows, their ideals crumbling under the weight of doubt. And then, at the summit, N awaits. His pale hair whips in the gale, his eyes burning with unyielding conviction. He's not just a kingpin, he's the embodiment of a philosophy that's seduced half of Unova. N speaks first, his voice calm yet commanding, echoing off the metallic walls. He challenges you to prove that humans and Pokémon can coexist without separation. This isn't a petty grudge match, it's a philosophical war. His team emerges one by one. Zebstreaker charging with electric fury, Caracosta unearthing primal defenses, and others honed to perfection through bonds he claims are pure. You counter with your own, every level up from Accumula Town to here fueling the fire. The battle rages, moves clashing in a symphony of destruction. Vanillux freezes the air solid, Serperia coils and strikes with venomous grace, but N's Pokémon fight not as tools, but as equals, their cries harmonizing with his commands. It's mesmerizing. You're forced to question, is his way truly madness, or a mirror to our own flaws? As the dust clears from this grueling clash, N summons his ultimate ally. The sky splits open, and Zekrom descends, its turbine wings thundering like an approaching apocalypse. The deep black Pokémon, embodiment of ideals, crackles with raw electricity that could level mountains. Its tail spins furiously, generating storms that lash the castle. You respond in kind, calling forth Reshiram from the ether. The vast white Pokémon materializes in a blaze of fire, its turbine roaring with truth's unquenchable flame. These twins, once one dragon split by the warring brothers of Unova's founding myth, now clash anew. Reshiram's blue flare scorches the horizon, melting steel beams into rivers of slag. Zekrom's bolt strike retaliates, forks of lightning carving craters into the platform. The air ionizes, your hair standing on end even from afar. Each blast shakes the foundations, sending tremors through the entire region. Viewers in Nimbasa feel it. Castilia's skyscrapers sway. This is no mere Pokémon battle. It's the twins' reconciliation or annihilation. But hold on. Just as the legends lock horns in a cataclysmic fusion of fire and thunder, a sinister laugh pierces the chaos. Getsy's Harmonia. Gropia steps from the shadows, his emerald eye gleaming with malice. This is the moment everything shatters. Getsy's, the sage who preached liberation, the architect of Plasma's rise, he unmasks himself as the true puppet master. His words drip with venom. Fool's Pokémon liberation was never the goal. It was a tool to disarm Unova, to strip trainers of their partners and leave me unchallenged. N's face twists in horror. The man he called father, the one who raised him in isolation with manipulated Pokémon speech, reveals his heartless core. Getsy's never cared for ideals. He sought domination, envisioning a world where only he wielded power. Pokémon as slaves to his Hydreigon. That monstrous three-headed beast emerges, its head snapping with brutal force. Draco Meteor raining stars of destruction. You feel the betrayal viscerally. N, the boy who heard Pokémon voices from birth, groomed to be a figurehead, crumples under the weight. Getsy's discards him like a broken toy, his Hydreigon launching an all-out assault. The castle platform fractures, chunks plummeting into the abyss below. But here's where heroism ignites. You and your Pokémon stand firm, countering Hydreigon's onslaught. N, dazed but resolute, joins the fray despite his shattered world. Zekrom and Reshiram, sensing the truth, pause their duel. In a moment of mythic convergence, their energies entwine. Fire and electricity spiral together, not to destroy, but to birth something new. The twins fuse in a blinding vortex, their forms merging into the original dragon, the Kyurem catalyst reborn as the ultimate truth and ideal united. This fusion isn't just spectacle, it's transformative. The resulting blast purifies the battlefield, forcing Getsy's Hydreigon to kneel in defeat. Getsy's flees into the storm, his empire in ruins, but his shadow lingers as Unova's darkest what-if. N collapses, Zekrom retreating into legend. In his final breaths of clarity, N confronts his illusions. He admits the voices he heard were real but incomplete. Pokémon crave bonds with humans, not isolation. I was wrong, he whispers, his redemption arc sealing in that vulnerable admission. The chosen hero extends a hand, not as victor, but as friend. N departs, seeking his own path with Pokémon, forever changed. This defeat doesn't break him, it redefines him, proving that true bonds transcend philosophy. Now let's unpack why this showdown reshaped the modern Pokémon world. Unova wasn't just another region, it was the first to interrogate the trainer-Pokémon dynamic head-on. Before Black and White, games were about collection and conquest. Here, N's castle forces you to ask, are Pokémon property or partners? Ghetsis' betrayal exposes the hypocrisy in any extreme. Liberation twisted into tyranny mirrors real-world manipulations. The Reshiram-Zekrom clash, culminating in fusion, symbolizes Unova's core duality. Truth and ideals aren't enemies, their union powers progress. Think about it. This event echoes through sequels. In Black 2 and White 2, N reappears, humbled, aiding against new threats. Ghetsis returns, more unhinged, proving villains evolve too. Delve deeper into the lore implications. The castle itself, built on the ruins of the ancient war, channels the twins' original power. Artifacts within amplified N's call, drawing the dragons like moths to flame. Hydreigon's defeat scatters dark energy across Unova, seeding future legends like the Shadow Triad's remnants. But the real transformation? It humanized Pokémon lore. N's ability to converse with them highlights latent human potential, perhaps latent Esper-like traits in trainers. Post-showdown, Unova's people re-evaluate. Looker from Interpol closes plasma cells, but whispers persist. Gym leaders like Elisa host Unity festivals, blending urban life with Pokémon harmony. You might wonder, how does this hit personally? Imagine standing there, Reshiram's warmth on your face, Zekrom's static tingling your skin. The fusion's light bathes everything in hope, erasing Ghetsis' poison. N's redemption arc isn't saccharine, it's earned through pain. He releases his Pokémon back to nature, but keeps a few as true companions, mirroring your journey. This redefines bonds, no longer master-servant, but mutual growth. Your starter, battle-worn from Driftvale to here, shares a knowing glance with N's Zoroark. It's intimate, profound. Expand on the global ripple. Kalos scholars later cite Unova's fusion as proof of DNA splicing. Possibilities. Kyurem's role in sequels confirms it. Sinnoh's creation trio watches from afar, their balance inspired. Even Hoenn's weather duo feels the shift toward unity. Unova proves regions aren't isolated, events cascade. Ghetsis' ideals, though betrayed, plant seeds of debate. Modern tournaments now feature harmony challenges, where trainers must sync emotions with Pokémon, echoing N's vision purified. Feel the emotional layers. N's isolation. Raised hearing only Pokémon cries, humans as deceivers, builds sympathy. Ghetsis' reveal crushes that, but your victory offers grace. It's forgiveness in action, transforming foes to allies. The castle crumbles post-battle, symbolizing Plasma's fall, yet its pinnacle view over Unova endures as a monument to change. Yet amid triumph, questions linger. What became of the fused dragon's power? How does N rebuild? These threads pull tighter in the diverging paths ahead. As the storms clear and Unova breathes anew, Black and White endings diverge in ways that split realities and challenge every choice you've made so far. You won't want to miss how those final forks redefine heroes, legends, and the world they forged. I hope you're as amazed by this as I am. If you want to stay updated on more content like this, make sure to subscribe and join our community of curious minds. Trust me, What's coming next will challenge everything you thought you knew. Black and white endings diverge in Pokémon. Black and white, the moment you stand victorious over Getzes in End's castle, marks not an ending, but a fork in Unova's timeline. Your version of the game, black or white, dictates which legendary dragon aligns with you, and that single divergence cascades into entirely separate futures for the region. Choose black, and Reshiram, the dragon of truth, becomes your ally, embodying the pursuit of verified ideals over blind faith. Opt for white, and Zekrom, the dragon of ideals, powers your journey, championing unproven dreams that fuel change. But here's where it gets profound. These aren't just color-coded paths. They're post-game decisions that fundamentally reshape Unova's destiny through the forbidden fusions with Kyurem. Think about it. After the credits roll, you return to a Unova that's already shifting under your influence. N has vanished with his dragon, Zekrom in black, Reshiram in white, leaving behind a fractured Team Plasma, splintered but not destroyed. You, the champion, hold the key to the third dragon, Kyurem, the husk of the original beast, frozen in giant chasm. Catching Kyurem isn't optional, it's the spark. In the shadows of that icy lair, you confront the remnants of the ancient legend. The twin heroes of Unova, thousands of years ago, split the original dragon into Reshiram and Zekrom during their fratricidal war, but Kyurem survived as the empty shell, waiting. Your choice to claim it sets everything in motion. Now fast forward to how this plays out in the sequels. Black 2 and White 2 pick up 2 years later, and your prior decisions echo loudly. If you played Black, Unova tilts toward a future dominated by Black Kyurem, the fusion of Kyurem and Zekrom. This behemoth isn't just stronger, it's a symbol of raw electric ideals overwhelming truth, plunging the region into an era where Team Plasma's vision of liberation evolves under new leadership. Colress, the scientist with a plasma badge hidden under his coat, experiments with Kyurem's DNA in the Pokémon lab on Black City. He doesn't just enhance power levels, he unlocks potential that warps the region's power grid, literally blacking out parts of Unova as Plasma tests their new weapon. You arrive as a fresh trainer, but the world feels heavier, charged with the ideology N championed. Plasma's ideals have taken root, remaking cities into fortresses of freedom where Pokémon are separated from trainers en masse. Flip to white, and white Kyurem rises instead. Kyurem fused with Reshiram, a blazing fusion of fire and truth that incinerates doubt. Unova's future burns brighter here, with White Forest flourishing as a haven of purified bonds between humans and Pokémon. But Plasma adapts. Getzes, imprisoned yet scheming from the shadows, pulls strings through his son, N's hidden legacy. They seize White Kyurem in the abyssal ruins, twisting truth into propaganda that justifies their genocidal purity. The region fractures along these lines. In Black's path, ideals drive unchecked expansion, toppling the Pokémon League into Plasma's hands temporarily. In White's path, truth exposes corruption, but at the cost of scorched earth battles that leave Driftvale scarred and Nuvema's winds carrying ash. You might wonder, how do these choices even persist across games? It's through the Pokémon Global Link and subtle save data flags that carry your version's essence forward. Play Black 2 after Black, and NPCs reference the blackened skies from Kyurem's rampage. White 2 after White brings mentions of truth's flames, reshaping society. These aren't cosmetic, they alter events. In one timeline, Hugh's sister loses her Munna to Plasma's ideal-driven raids. In the other, it's truth experiments stealing bonds. Your post-game fusion, deciding to wield Kyurem's loneliness as a weapon, directly influences Plasma's resurgence. Refuse it, and Unova heals slowly under Alder and Iris. Embrace it, and you accelerate the chaos that BW2 demands you fix. But the real mindbender hits when you delve into Kyurem's core, Fusing it with Zekrom or Reshiram isn't mere power scaling, it's a revelation about Unova's place in global Pokémon history. Kyurem's body, that pallid, incomplete form, holds the DNA helix of the original dragon, a literal double spiral encoded with the twins' conflict. Scientists like those in Nakreen City hypothesize it mirrors the creation myths worldwide. Remember Sinnoh's creation trio? Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina emerged from Arceus' 1,000 arms. But Unova's, dragons represent the helix of evolution itself, truth and ideals twisting like DNA strands, driving all life forward. Connection unfolding in BW2's postgame. After dethroning Ghetsis again in the giant chasm's deepest chamber, Kyurem speaks, not in words but through telepathic echoes of the original dragon. It reveals that Unova wasn't isolated. The helix links back to Hoenn's Rayquaza, the Sky Guardian whose mega evolution stabilizes primal forces, echoing Kyurem's stabilizing emptiness. In Kanto, Mewtwo's cloned rage parallels the twins' split, both born from hubris twisting natural order. Even Carlos's Zygarde senses it, its cells forming a perfect helix to maintain ecosystems. Just as Kyurem balances the warring dragons, what does this mean for you, the player, uncovering it? Everything. Unova transforms from a regional tale into the nexus of Pokémon's evolutionary lore. The DNA helix isn't metaphor, it's canon, visualized in Kyurem's DNA splicers, a device that literally unwinds and rebinds the strands. Colres's research papers, scattered in Plasma's frigate, detail how injecting Kyurem's helix into other legendaries could awaken global potentials. Imagine if Mew got a taste, new evolutions rippling across regions, or Eternatus in Galar, its poison helix corrupted until Unova's balance intervenes. This revelation hits hardest during the final fusion battles. As Black Kyurem or White Kyurem towers over you, its roars carry visions. The original dragon coiling around the world tree, akin to Aura's Cypher ruins or Fiore's Ranger bonds. Unova's dragons aren't local heroes. They're the genetic blueprint for every legendary clash. Truth verifies the science. Ideals dream the possibilities. Your choice propagates this helix, reshaping not just Unova, but hinting at interventions in Paldea or Kitakami, where terrestrial phenomena twist crystals like faulty DNA. Yet triumph is bittersweet. Even after you separate the fusions, restoring Reshiram, Zekrom and Kyurem to their paths, N reclaims his dragon, flying off to parts unknown. Plasma lingers. Ghetsis' final hate-filled monologue in BW2's Pokémon World Tournament seals it. Fools, my vision endures. His remnants scatter. Shadow Triad vanishing into shadows. Colress defecting but retaining helix data. Even Looker from Interpol admitting plasma cells. Worldwide. These threads set the stage perfectly for sequels. What if N returns, helix in hand, to unite dragons globally? Or Plasma evolves into a multi-regional threat, splicing Unova's code into foreign legendaries? You feel the weight of it, don't you? Every rematch in the postgame, every shiny hunt in hidden grottos underscores the divergence. In Black's Unova, power plants hum with Zekrom's thunder, economy booms on ideals-fueled tech, White's forests teem with Reshiram's warmth, society bonds tighter through truth. But Plasma's ghosts whisper of convergence, a third path where all three dragons reunite, helix perfected. Dive deeper into the implications. Take the medal missions. In Black 2, fusing Kyurem early unlocks Terravolt or Turbo Blaze abilities that pierce immunities, mirroring how ideals bulldoze truth's barriers. White 2's fusion emphasizes flash fire, truth-consuming falsehoods. These mechanics aren't gameplay fluff, they're lore delivery systems. NPCs in Aspertia evolve dialogue based on your version, hinting at timeline splits. The Black Storm changed everything, says one fisherman in Black's route. White light purified us, counters White's priestess. Emotionally, it's your story. You chose Black, embracing ideals. Did Plasma's vision tempt you, even as you fought it? White and truth guided you? Did Ghetsis' lies burn away too late? N's final letter post-game pleads, the helix binds us all, choose wisely. Lingering Plasma ensures no clean victory. Their ideals corrupt Ordino farms. Truth experiments steal memories. Iris as champion inherits your burden. Battling rematch teams infused with helix echoes. Globally, this helix revelation explodes canon. Fan theories solidify. Unova's dragons predate Arceus' shattering in Hisui. Their split birthing divergence in all timelines. Kyurem's emptiness, a multiverse anchor explaining variant forms across games. In Legends, Arceus echoes, noble Pokémon, sense the helix pull. Scarlet and Violet's paradox forms, faulty splices from Unova leaks. As Plasma's remnants plot from Undella Bay's depths, eyes on the wider world, Unova's future hangs on that DNA twist. You've reshaped it, player, through one choice, but the story doesn't end here. And speaking of transformations that redefine everything, wait until you hear about Unova's design revolution in the next chapter. How its visuals and mechanics didn't just dazzle, but engineered the blueprint for every Pokémon game since. You won't want to miss how it sparked a creative explosion still burning today. Unova's design revolution. Unova shattered every expectation by unveiling 156 entirely new Pokémon, not a single repeat from the previous generations. That's right, every creature you encountered felt fresh, born from a deliberate push toward realism that grounded the fantasy in something almost tangible. Think about it. No more floating islands of myth alone. Here, Pokémon mirrored the grit of city streets and rural farmlands, their designs pulling from everyday animals and objects you could swear you've seen before. Take Patrat, for instance. This little scout rodent doesn't float ethereally or shoot stars from its eyes. No, it's a vigilant lookout with beady eyes and striped fur, the kind of creature that could scamper through your backyard, watching your every move from the bushes. You pair it with Watchog, its evolved form, a towering sentinel with hypnotic eyes that scream urban paranoia. These aren't heroic legends. They're survivors in a bustling world. And that's just the start. Lillipup evolves into Stoutland, a loyal sheepdog with shaggy fur and a protective stance, evoking the family pet that guards your home through storms. You can almost hear its paws padding on concrete sidewalks. But Unova didn't stop at surface realism. It plunged into moral ambiguity, crafting Pokémon whose natures blurred the lines between ally and threat. What happens when your partner isn't purely noble? Consider Zvailus, a two-headed dragon whose heads are locked in eternal conflict, blind to the world around them because they can't agree on direction. Evolving into Hydreigon, it unleashes destructive fury, its lore painting it as a rampaging force that levels villages. Is it a villain or just a misunderstood beast? You decide in battle, but the unease lingers. Or look at Bishop, the blade-wielding swordsman leading a gang of Pawniard minions. Their design screams organised crime syndicate, sharp, ruthless, promoting the strongest through cutthroat hierarchy. Train one, and you're commanding a mob boss. Does that make you the hero or something darker? This ambiguity seeped into the region's story itself, where heroes grappled with ideals of freedom versus control. Pokémon like these forced you to question, are we taming nature or twisting it? Conkeldurr, the burly construction worker, swinging steel beams like clubs, embodies labour's double edge. Builder by day, demolisher by night. Its backstory hints at forgotten projects, abandoned in moral quagmires. You feel the weight of these choices. Every capture carries a shadow of doubt. And with 156 of them, all original, Unova built a roster that demanded you engage deeper, not just collect for the sake of it. Now imagine how battles evolved alongside these grounded designs. Triple battles exploded onto the scene, thrusting 3 Pokémon into the fray at once. No more one-on-one duels. strategy ballooned into chaos you had to master. Picture this, your Stoutland tanks hits up front, a Patriot scouts for weaknesses on the flank, and a hidden ace like Hydreigon rotates in to obliterate. Positioning mattered. Left, centre, right slots became chessboards. One wrong move, and your team crumbles under spread attacks like Heatwave, scorching all foes, or Rock Slide burying your side. You had to anticipate alliances, chain combos like Grass Knot tripping heavies, while electric shocks chain through water types. Triple battles rewarded foresight, turning every encounter into a tactical symphony. But Unova didn't hold back there. Rotation battles took it further, a mechanic where your frontliner fights solo until you rotate the back two forward in a carousel spin. It's pure unpredictability. You're locked into one Pokémon, buying time with items or sturdy defenses, then BAM! Swap in a counter like Excadrill burrowing underground to emerge with Earthquake. Rotation forced adaptability. What if your lead Aldino heals through poison, only for you to spin in Chandelure's fiery ghost flames? The mind games intensified. Trainers baited rotations, feinted weaknesses. Suddenly team composition wasn't about levels, it was synergy on steroids. You layered abilities, Levitate dodging ground moves, Drizzle summoning rain for swift swims. These mechanics transformed Pokémon from turn-based slogs into dynamic wars, where prediction won championships. You'll love how this ties back to those realistic designs. Triple and rotation battles amplified moral ambiguity too. Send out a Bisharp gang in triples, and it feels like unleashing enforcers. Do they intimidate foes into surrender, or bully them down? Hydreigon's rage in rotation becomes a desperate gamble, its blind fury either dooming or dominating. Unova made every fight personal, every loss a lesson in grey areas. And lurking beneath these innovations, subtle seeds for the fairy type, planted so cleverly you might miss them on first playthrough. Spot the hints in Whimsicott, that fluffy prankster, swirling cotton clouds like mischievous pixies. Its moveset drips with playful magic. Cotton Guard for ethereal defense, Moonblast precursors in energy bursts. Or Cottony, its pre-evo, drifting like a dandelion spirit, immune to grounded threats in ways that scream otherworldly charm. Petalil and Lilligant dance with floral grace, their growth powders evoking enchantment spells. Even Meloetta shifts forms, singing melodies that bend reality. Aria to step, ballerina to rockstar. These weren't accidents. Genesect's mechanical fairy drive, a cannon fused with ancient tech, pulsed with forbidden energy. Togepi evolved here into Togekiss, its serene flight hinting at a type yet unborn, resisting dragons before dragons knew fear. Why does this matter to you? Because Unova's revolution wasn't just numbers or rules, it redefined immersion. Those 156 Pokémon grounded you in a world where skyscrapers pierced clouds beside ancient castles, where ideals clashed in black and white morality. Realism made them relatable, ambiguity made them haunting. Battles evolved to match, triples and rotations demanding you think 3 steps ahead, weaving strategies that felt alive. And those fairy whispers? They foreshadowed a type war to come, tilting power balances forever. Dive deeper into examples, and you'll see the genius. Purloin and Lippard slink as deceptive cats, their assist mimicking moves with shadowy trickery. Moral grey in every claw swipe. In triples, they feint attacks, drawing fire while your heavy hitter builds. Drillbur spins underground, evolving to Excadrill's steel drill fury, perfect for rotation ambushes. Sandelay's croc grin hides a trapper's heart, Krokorok's glare intimidating in crowded fields. You build teams around these quirks, a defensive core with triple weather control, Politoed Rains, Hippowdon Sands, Ninetail Suns, each rotation flipping the field. Moral layers thicken with legendaries. Reshiram and Zekrom embody truth and ideals, dragons whose black-white clash mirrors the hero's journey. Curem, the empty shell, absorbs them into forms of ultimate power, Black Kyurem's freeze-burn fusion, White's icy blaze. But their designs? Realistic husks, not gods on pedestals. Victini grants victory, yet hides in fear. Keldeo trains in secret glades. These aren't infallible deities. They're flawed forces you ally with cautiously. Battles shine brightest here. Triple legendary clashes, unthinkable before. Rotate Kyurem in after stalling with Landorus's tornadoes, and skies shatter. Strategy exploded. Items like air balloon evading quakes, focus sash clutching rotations. You experiment endlessly. A whimsicott lead spreads leech seed in triples, draining all three while rotating healers sustain. Moral choice hits when your leopard copycats a foe's explosion, risky, ruthless, rewarding the bold. Unova's Pokémon rosters demanded diversity. Dealing shifts seasons, colours changing with nature's mood, realistic ecology in pixel form. Swanna glides as elegant swans, but packs Thunderwave flocks for battle control. Crustle carries rocky homes, immovable tanks in triples. Each fills niches uniquely, no overlaps, diluting the 156's impact. Feel the transformation yet? This wasn't iteration, it was reinvention. Realism pulled you into Unova's urban sprawl, from Castilia's neon to Nuvema's farms. Ambiguity challenged your trainer soul. Free all Pokémon, or harness their grey power. Battles became spectacles, triples packing arenas, rotations spinning surprises. Fairy hints twinkled like hidden stars, promising shifts ahead. But hold on, because Unova's story didn't end with these revolutions. What happened when they doubled down, expanding the world with post-game depths and sequel twists? That's where Chapter 14, Black 2 and White 2 expansions, picks up the thread, unveiling layers that made Unova eternal. Changes so profound, you'll wonder how the series survived without them. Stay with me as we uncover those secrets. Black 2 and White 2 expansions. 2 years have passed since the clash of ideals that shook Unova to its core, and now a fresh chapter unfolds, with new heroes stepping into the fray. You find yourself in Aspertia City, where a young trainer named Nate or Rosa begins their journey, unaware that the shadows of Team Plasma are stirring once more. But this isn't the same organization you remember. They've rebranded as Neo Team Plasma, preaching liberation with a sharper edge, their forces bolder and their ambitions deadlier. Getsis, that master manipulator, lurks in the background, pulling strings with a scientist named Colress at his side, whose experiments push the boundaries of Pokémon potential in ways that echo far into the future. Picture the tension building as you, the new protagonist, bike across familiar routes, only to encounter grunts snatching Pokémon from unsuspecting trainers. These aren't random thefts. Neo Plasma claims it's for the greater good, freeing Pokémon from human bonds. Yet whispers spread quickly. Something's off. Their leader, a shadowy figure in a cloak, rallies followers with fiery speeches about true freedom. You chase leads from Verbank City to the cold peaks of Twist Mountain, piecing together a puzzle that reveals Getsis' true goal: domination through a weaponized legend. Colress emerges as the wild card here, a genius clad in sleek white armor, obsessed with unveiling the full power hidden within Pokémon. His lab in the P2 laboratory hums with forbidden tech, where he tests devices that amplify strength beyond natural limits. You confront him early on, and he doesn't fight with brute force. He deploys his own creations, like his Klinklang, upgraded through bizarre energy infusions. But the real breakthrough comes later, when his research delves into genetic splicing. Colress develops the DNA splicer, a machine that merges Kyurem's icy form with the essences of Reshiram and Zekrom. Black Kyurem or White Kyurem, these fused behemoths roar with power that feels like a glimpse of something revolutionary. Think about it. This isn't just fusion. It's a precursor to mega evolution itself. Colress's work taps into the idea of temporary, explosive power-ups, triggered by external tools, harnessing a Pokémon's inner potential through science rather than keystones. He rants about transcending limits, about science piercing the veil of what nature intended. You battle these hybrids in the giant chasm, a cavernous rift pulsing with otherworldly energy, and each clash reveals how his experiments mimic the megaforms we'll see years later in Hone and Carlos. DNA splicing forces a radical transformation, boosting stats dramatically, altering abilities and reshaping battle dynamics. Its raw, unstable power, Kyurem's frozen might combined with truth or ideals, creating dragons that dwarf anything from the first Unova crisis. As you delve deeper into the giant chasm, the earth trembles and truths explode like hidden caches of lore. Kyurem isn't just a survivor, it's the emaciated husk of the original dragon, the one that split into Reshiram and Zekrom eons ago. Ancient murals depict the trio's birth, a single beast torn asunder by the twin heroes, leaving Kyurem as the desolate remainder, hungering for reunion. Ghetsis plans to exploit this, freezing Unova under Kyurem's wrath to remake the world in his image. You fuse your own legendaries with the DNA splicer. Imagine the rush as Zekrom's thunder merges with Kyurem's chill, or Reshiram's fire thaws the ice. These battles aren't just fights, they're reckonings, connecting dots to legendaries beyond Unova. That revelation in the chasm doesn't stop at local myths. Kyurem's story, as the original dragon's remnant, foreshadows connections to later powerhouses like Rayquaza in Hoenn, the Alpha Dragon regulating primal forces, or even the cosmic entities in Galar. It's as if Unova's fractured dragon sets the template for every legendary split and fusion that follows. Colress, witnessing the splicing success, questions his allegiance, his fascination with pure power clashing with Ghetsis' tyranny. In a pivotal showdown, aboard the plasma frigate, a massive airship blotting the skies, you dismantle their operation, but not without cost. Neoplasma's resurgence forces you to revisit N's castle, now a haunted ruin in eastern Unova. N, the fallen king, returns changed, seeking redemption. He challenges you not as an enemy, but as a mirror, his Zorua at his side a symbol of bonds unbroken. Together, you storm Ghetsis' lair, where the true horror unfolds. His Hydreigon, eyes mad with rage, embodies the villain's fractured soul. Victory here liberates countless Pokémon, but Colress slips away, his research intact, hinting at experiments that ripple outward. Beyond the main quest, Unova expands in ways that reward your exploration. New areas like Join Avenue buzz with mini-games and trainer battles, letting you build a hub of allies. Pokestar Studios in Burbank offers cinematic adventures, where you star in movies battling fake villains, Zubats as spies, Gardevoir as pop idols. It's playful, but laced with lore. Films parody Plasma's propaganda, blurring lines between hero and liberator. Then there's the Pokémon World Tournament, pitting you against champs from every region. Red from Kanto, Cynthia from Sinnoh. Facing Blue's smug confidence, or Lance's Dragon Fury, sharpens your team, preparing you for post-game trials. Dive into the depths of Undella Bay, where Relic Castle hides more desert secrets, or scale Challenger's Cave for rare encounters. But the crown jewel is N's finale, rematching his team atop his rebuilt castle, legends clashing under stormy skies. Hydreigon returns evolved, a testament to growth even in defeat. Colress, now rogue, offers final bouts with his perfected machines, his dialogue probing deeper. Power without purpose is meaningless. His splicers prefigure Mega Evolution's keystones and Z-rings, where held items unlock Mega forms, Lucario's Aura Surge, Charizard's Primal Blaze. Unova tests this first, proving science can rival myth. You can't ignore the Shadow Triad's full arc. The Seven Sages scatter: Gorm, Rude, Ryoku, Zinzolin, Bronius, Ghetsis, each with hideouts revealing Plasma's fractured philosophy. Rude redeems himself in Lacunosa Town, warning of the Shadow Triad. Those masked ninjas, Shadow Triad, ambush you repeatedly, their Bisharp slicing through defenses. Capturing them unlocks deeper lore. They worshipped En as king, now loyal to Getsis out of fear. Unova's expansions flesh out morality, liberation twisted into theft, science blurring ethics. Humalao City, with its surfing gym leader Marlon, brings laid-back vibes amid the storm. His Jellicent haunts waves, but victory tastes sweeter, knowing Plasma's reach extends even here. Post-game, the Black Tower and White Tree Hallow challenge endurance, endless battles against themed teams. Trick, streak, item, or loose, each floor a test of strategy. Reach the top, claim a medal from Blake, or Whitley, the masked admins who shed disguises, revealing their true selves as reformed plasma youth. Colress's legacy lingers strongest. His DNA tech doesn't vanish, it evolves in implications. Mega Evolution, debuting later, borrows the splicing concept. External trigger, radical form change, temporary boost. Curum's fusions mirror Megastone's energy, hinting Game Freak prototyped here. Giant Chasm's murals prophesy more. The dragon's hunger connects to Aternatus in Gala, a poison dragon corrupting from within, or Giratina's distortion world splits. Unova plants seeds for multiversal lore. As you wrap your journey, medals gleaming, legends tamed, neoplasma crumbles, Getsis, imprisoned yet scheming, vows return. En wanders, seeking purpose. You stand taller, Unova's expansions proving growth never ends. But what happens when these seismic shifts, Colress's proto-megas, Curem's ancient truths, send shockwaves beyond the region? That's exactly what we'll uncover in the next chapter. Ripples into future generations, where Unova's innovations redefine battles across the Pokémon world. You won't want to miss how it all cascades forward. Ripples into future generations. Unova did not fade into obscurity after its heroes restored balance. Its core philosophy of truth versus ideals rippled outward, reshaping every region that followed. Kalos, the next major evolution in the Pokémon world, drew directly from Unova's black and white duality, but twisted it into something even more profound: the eternal dance between life and death. Consider Yveltal and Xerneas, Kalos' legendary duo. Yveltal, the destruction Pokémon, absorbs life energy upon death, turning it into a crystalline stasis, while Xerneas, the life Pokémon, bestows vitality with its glowing antlers. This isn't random mythology, it's Unova's ideals manifest in primal forces. In Unova, Reshiram embodied truth through searing white flames, burning away illusions, and Zekrom wielded ideals with dark electrified fury, forging new realities. Kalos took that conflict and made it cosmic. Life and death aren't enemies here, they're interdependent, just as Unova taught that truth and ideals must coexist to prevent chaos. You can trace this back to Carlos's ancient king, AZ. Haunted by loss, he built an ultimate weapon, fueled by eternal life energy, sparking a war that scorched the land. Sound familiar? It's Team Plasma's liberation rhetoric on steroids. Pokémon as tools for human ambition, leading to catastrophe. AZ's Floette refused to abandon him even in death, mirroring N's bond with Pokémon that transcended trainer ownership. When AZ finally released his weapon, it summoned Yveltal's destructive pulse, wiping out armies, only for Xerneas to counter with renewal. Unova's message that blind ideals destroy everything? Kalos etched it into legend. Trainers in Lumiose City still whisper about how AZ wandered eternally, a living reminder that suppressing death for life's sake creates imbalance. You feel that weight, don't you? The way Unova's heroes chose harmony forced future regions to confront these extremes head-on. But Kalos didn't stop at legendaries. Its mega evolutions echo Unova's hidden potentials, unlocked through bonds. Just as the Swords of Justice revealed deeper truths about Pokémon hearts, Mega Stones tapped into Stones of Power, amplifying forms in battle. Charizard's Fiery Ascent, or Lucario's Aura Surge, their evolutions born from trust, not domination, a direct nod to breaking free from Plasma's chains. Now shift your gaze to Alola, the tropical paradise that redefined Pokémon identity. Here, Unova's liberation themes didn't just inspire stories, they transformed the very creatures themselves. Regional variants exploded onto the scene, Pokémon adapting wildly to new environments. Executor towering as a palm tree, Vulpix breathing ice instead of fire. These aren't mutations, they're echoes of freedom. In Unova, Team Plasma preached releasing Pokémon to their true selves, arguing captivity stifled potential. Alola made it canon. Pokémon evolved differently because they're unshackled from Kanto norms, thriving in liberated forms. Think about it. Alola's kahunas and captains treat battles as trials of respect, not conquest. Olivia, on Akala Island, mines for evolution stones while honouring the land's guardians, much like Iris guarding Unova's dragon lore. And the Tapus? Those deer-like deities protect the islands with aura barriers, demanding offerings of gratitude, not servitude. It's N's dream realised, Pokémon as equals, their forms a testament to natural liberty. Ultra beasts crashing through wormholes? They're invaders from beyond, forcing Alolan trainers to question otherworldly exploitation, paralleling Ghetsis' lies about human Pokémon harmony. You might wonder, how deep does this go? Take Lycanroc's variant's Dusk form, emerging at twilight, a balanced fusion of midday's speed and midnight's power. That's Unova's truth ideal synthesis in fur and fangs. Alola's totem Pokémon, enhanced by allies, dominate trials until humbled, teaching that true strength comes from mutual reliance, not solo dominance. No Pokeballs flung carelessly here, you earn their partnership. This shift rippled into gameplay too. Z moves as ultimate bursts of liberated power, one per battle, emphasizing quality bonds over quantity catches. As generations marched on, Galar amplified these ripples into stadium spectacles and moral quagmires. Unova's urban sprawl birthed Galar's industrial might, but with Dynamax energy twisting giants in power plants. Chairman Rose, obsessed with eternal energy like Azed before him, plunged the region into darkness, unleashing Eternatus, a poison dragon, embodying unchecked ambition. Sound like Ghetsis? Absolutely. Rose's macrocosmos masked noble intentions with corporate greed, forcing you, the player, to navigate grey areas, allying with his rival Leon, uncovering Oleana's schemes. Galar's wild area, that vast open expanse, screams Unova's liberation. Roam freely, catch what chooses you, no linear paths. Galar's champions grapple with legacy's burden. Leon's invincible reign hides loneliness, echoing Alder's weary wisdom. Bede's redemption arc? Straight from N's playbook, abandoned ideals forging a truth seeker. And the darkest day? A cataclysm, where Dynamaxed Pokémon rampaged, blending Yveltal's destruction with Plasma's false flags. You battled through it, restoring balance, but Galar left scars. Post-game stories of reformed teams, hinting Liberation's ongoing struggle. Paldea takes this further, shattering conventions with its open-world sprawl. Terratypes let Pokémon shatter elemental limits, a liberation of potential Unova only dreamed of. Imagine a fire-type grass terror blooming flames, pure freedom. The treasure hunt narrative? It's personal truth-seeking, like Hilbert's journey through Ideal's Vale. But moral complexities peak with the Paradox Pokémon from Area Zero, ancients and future beasts clashing timelines, questioning evolution's linearity. Professor Sada and Turo's AI avatars pursue immortality through time rifts, birthing Ogerpon's masked rebellion and the Loyal Three's betrayal. It's AZ's weapon reborn digital, Plasma's philosophy digitized. You infiltrate their labs, confronting clones and regrets, deciding fates without easy villains. Paldea's Elite Four dwells underground, guardians of forgotten lore, while the open map invites endless exploration. No badges gating progress, just your curiosity. Terrapagos, the turtle jewel at the core, crystallizes it all, a being granting wishes that warps reality, demanding sacrifice. Unova warned of such power. Paldea tests it. You wield it against the professor's hubris, emerging changed. Regional forms evolve here too. Paldean Tauros charging with fiery pride, echoing Alola's adaptive spirits. These aren't coincidences. Game Freak wove Unova's threads deliberately. Kaelus's duality stems from black-white philosophy. Alola's variants from liberation cries, Galar and Paldea's worlds, from moral mazes demanding player agency. Trainers worldwide feel it, your Unovan starter influencing choices decades later. Ideals clashing truths in every gym. Dive deeper into specifics. In Kalos, Lyssandra's flair sought beauty through destruction, a perfectionist twist on Ghetsis' supremacy. His ultimate weapon? An Eviltal-powered laser mirroring the Unova castle's cannon. Defeating him releases Xerneas, life's affirmation. You bond with AZ in the end, his Floette reviving, proving bonds outlast ideals. Alola's ultra-megalopolis, a ruined mirror world ruled by Necrozma, steals light, pure oppression. Lucamine's Ether Foundation cloaks trafficking as care, flipping Plasma's script. You shatter it with Necrozma's fusion forms, ultra bursts of liberated prism power. Galar's Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra expand this. Kubfu's tower trials test inner truth. Calyrex's steeds demand regal harmony. Glastria and Spectria split like Reshiram Zekrom, reuniting in ideals. Paldea's Blueberry Academy floats on exchanges, global unity from Unova's diverse cast. Corriden's Glide, Meriden's Wheels, open world freedom incarnate. What does this mean for you? Every region you visit carries Unova's DNA. Your team, diverse and bonded, embodies it. Kalos taught balance, Alola adaptation, Galar spectacle with stakes, Paldea boundless choice. Yet these ripples hint at something grander. Unova's eternal legacy awaits, a timeless force still shaping horizons you can't yet see. What unbreakable threads bind it all? Stick around for Chapter 16, Unova's eternal legacy, where the full tapestry unveils. Unova's eternal legacy. Unova stands as the pivotal turning point in Pokémon history, where the line between trainer and Pokémon blurred forever, forcing us to confront the ethics of capture and companionship head-on. In Black and White, the story didn't just pit heroes against villains, it challenged every player, you included, to question whether Pokémon battles were games or something far deeper. N, the enigmatic king with his wild ideals, declared that Pokémon deserved freedom from human chains, echoing through the streets of Castelia City and the peaks of Dragon Spiral Tower. His words weren't empty rhetoric, they ignited a debate that reshaped the series' soul. Think about it. Before Unova, catching Pokémon felt straightforward, a quick toss of a Pokeball and onto the next gym. But Unova demanded you release every Pokémon you caught at the start, forcing you to rebuild your team with intention. That mechanic wasn't random, it symbolized choice, partnership over possession. The twin dragons, Reshiram and Zekrom, embodied this clash, truth versus ideals, black and white merging into grey. Reshiram, the vast white blaze of truth, and Zekrom, the electric black storm of ideals, weren't just legendaries to collect. They represented philosophies that trainers like Hilbert or Hilda had to embrace, proving that true strength comes from alignment, not domination. This ethical core didn't fade after the credits rolled. Unova embedded it into the modern Pokémon world, influencing every region that followed. Fast forward to Scarlet and Violet, and you'll spot Unova's fingerprints everywhere, especially in the Paradox Pokémon. Those bizarre creatures, ancient versions with icy tusks or futuristic ones crackling with purple energy, aren't mere gimmicks. They echo Unova's ancient twists, like the hero of truth and hero of ideals who tamed the dragons after a great war. In Unova's lore, those heroes weren't conquerors. They forged bonds that split one dragon into two, symbolizing how conflict births evolution. Scarlet and Violet's Area Zero mirrors this perfectly, a crater hiding prehistoric and futuristic paradoxes born from time rifts, questioning if Pokémon are timeless beings trapped in human timelines. You can trace the lineage directly. Unova's Kyurem, the boundary dragon, fuses with Reshiram and Zekrom to become the ultimate form, Black Kyurem or White Kyurem, blending opposites into power. Paradox Pokémon do the same, pulling from Paldea's ancient nobles and future machines, their designs screaming Unova's influence. Think Walking Wake, a watery Suicune variant that's pure prehistoric throwback, or Iron Valiant, a sleek fighter fusing Gardevoir and Gallade into something alien. Game Freak didn't invent these from scratch. Unova taught them to twist legends into ethical dilemmas. What if those paradoxes are what happens when humans meddle too much, echoing N's cry against exploitation? But Unova's legacy runs deeper than monsters. It transformed the narrative fabric, putting human Pokémon ethics front and center in ways that persist today. In Sword and Shield's Isle of Armor, the Eternatus crisis revolves around Dynamax energy corrupting bonds, much like Team Plasma's manipulative releases. Legends. Arceus takes it further, with space-time distortions spawning ancient and anomalous Pokémon. Sound familiar? And players earning Pokémon trust through obedience levels, not blind catches. Unova pioneered this shift, making ethics the law's backbone. Remember the Pokémon musical in Nimbasa City? It wasn't filler, it celebrated Pokémon as performers with agency, hinting at lives beyond battles. Dive into the specifics and the connections multiply. Unova's Elite Four weren't just tough, they embodied philosophies. Shauntal's ghost stories delved into loss and memory. Grimsley's darkness explored ambition's cost. Caitlyn's mind games tested empathy. And Marshall's fighting spirit demanded respect for opponents. These weren't side characters, they forced you to reflect on your journey. Now, in Scarlet and Violet, the Elite Four returns with twists. Rika's grounded interrogation, Larry's weary salaryman vibe, building on Unova's introspective depth. Even the open-world freedom in Paldea stems from Unova's vast roots and seasonal changes, where Pokémon lived wild lives you disrupted or joined. What makes this eternal? Unova flipped the script from simple catches to profound partnerships. Early games treated Pokémon like tools. Catch, level, swap. Unova made them family. Your starter, whether Snivy, Tepig, or Oshawott, evolves not just in power, but in story, mirroring your growth against N's pure-hearted team of legends. His Zoroark illusions weren't cheats, they highlighted deception in training. By the end, when N flies off on Zekrom, you're not victorious, you're changed, understanding his pain. That emotional payoff redefined success. No longer about badges alone, but harmony. This evolution influenced Scarlet and Violet's Terratypes profoundly. Imagine a Pokémon shifting crystals to unleash hidden power. It's Unova's ideals manifesting physically. Terra-style Pokémon glow with new typings, much like Kyurem's fusions, or the original Dragon Split. The ethics shine through in the treasure hunt, where you befriend Miraidon or Koraidon not by force, but mutual curiosity. Area Zero's secrets reveal Professor Sada, and Turo's hubris, tampering with time like Getsy's twisted plasma. Warning against unethical science, Unova whispered, "Partnerships, not possession," and Paldea shouted it back. You'll feel this in every modern playthrough. Take the DLC's Blueberry Academy. Exchange codes for shinies, build teams collaboratively. It's Unova's Pokémon World Tournament evolved, where ethics mean fair play across regions. Or the sandwich picnics, nurturing Pokémon with food, evoking Unova's hidden grottos where wild ones shared berries freely. These aren't coincidences. Unova's legacy ensures Pokémon feel alive, with backstories like the Patriot Scouts or dealing seasons tying into ecosystems we respect, not exploit. Consider the broader lore ripples. Unova's International Pokémon Tournament brought back every past champion, proving no region exists in isolation. This interconnectedness fueled Scarlet and Violet's cameos, Geeta as a nod to Alder, the Unova champ who mentored with heart. Alder's lesson? Battles are about learning from losses. That's the ethical thread. Growth through bonds. Even villainy transformed. Ghetsis' mask of benevolence critiques false philanthropy, mirrored in Paldea's Team Star, rebels fighting bullying with Pokémon unity. But here's the surprise that ties it all. Unova's ancient twists directly birthed paradox concepts. The Swords of Justice, Terrakion, Virizion, Cobalion, Keldeo, guard Pokémon from human tyranny. Their lore in the Abundant Shrine revealing a war where heroes intervened ethically. Scarlet and Violet's ancient paradoxes, like Great Tusk echoing Donphan, are those guardians warped by time, while future ones like Iron Treads mechanize the bond's betrayal. Game Freak confirmed inspirations traced to Unova's duality, where legends aren't static, they adapt, challenging us to do the same. You might wonder, how did a single region achieve this immortality? It started with Black and White's bold narrative, stripping illusions to reveal truth. Sequels like Black 2 and White 2 amplified it, with the Looker missions exposing Plasma's remnants and Genesect's tragic revival. Ethics in cloning anyone? Genesect, the revived fossil remade into a weapon, prefigures paradoxes perfectly, its cannon drive piercing through time-warped foes. This ultimate transformation, from rote catches to profound partnerships, defines modern Pokémon. Today's games prioritize story modes, bond mechanics like affection-boosting moves, and epilogues where Pokémon stay with you post-game. Unova ignited that fire, making every Pokéball a promise, every evolution a shared triumph. In a world of shiny hunts and competitive metas, Unova reminds us the real legacy is the friends we made along the way, but redefined as equals. As we close this journey through Unova's shadows and lights, one final truth emerges. The region that dared to question everything didn't just transform games, it reshaped how ourselves in harmony with these incredible creatures. And that brings us to the ultimate revelation, how Unova's blueprint endures in every battle you fight today.